Juki got the sauce, bitch.
Happy Saturday, everybody. How's everybody doing? Off-grid Hawaii? Hello. The carnivore diet has officially killed Chase. I actually have to preside at his funeral. We're not muted today. We did it, guys. It's only taken 10 streams. And when you said that, it gave me instant anxiety. I was like, am I still muted? Damn it. How's everybody doing today? Today, we have an awesome stream. And I always say that, but today I'm very excited. We have Chris Kruger coming on. He will be on in about 30 minutes. He's coming on at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I have been a fan of Chris's for a while. I have actually watched a lot of his material, a lot of his videos. I eat a similar way to him. And he's somebody who I admire in terms of the overall approach and fitness levels that he has. And I find him pretty interesting, and I think that we're going to have a good chat today. And we may even have a special guest, a big special guest, from the vegan side. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what Chris wants to do with it. But I have somebody who wants to come on, if you know what I'm saying. They want to make this debate lit. How's Hawaii going, Mike? Or Paulina? I don't know who controls that account. Hello, Ryu Zaki L. Don't forget the L. But yeah, Chase hasn't been posting on Instagram. I'm sure he's just busy. I talked to them both yesterday or 2 days ago. We have a little DM thing going on Instagram. And I told them, hey, we need to schedule the next meeting. It looks like it's going to be in about 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. So next week is the end of the experiment, and then they're going to do their blood test next Friday, and then Dave Feldman will come on the show once we get the blood test back in, which takes about 6 days. So, we'll have Dave. We'll wait for we'll wait for the blood to come back in before we do another show with them, and then we'll have Dave on there, and then we'll unroll everything at once. It'll be a really good episode. It'll be very comprehensive and have just everything possible in it, really. Waiting for my chickens to lay an egg so I can have a breakfast. Heck yeah, man. Are your eggs that really dark, like really dark orangey color, that vibrant orange? I hear that chickens that are on like real pastured chickens have that color. Logan Blake is not who I'm talking about for this episode. No. Somebody much, 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 much bigger than Logan Blake. I am willing to talk to Logan Blake. He thinks that I'm dodging him or something. It's very interesting, but I got his attention. Had to call him out, smack him around a little bit. He thought he was a big shot with his 13,000 subscribers, and then I had to drop the facts on him. And he went and he did his little research. He knows who Drew Morgan is now. That was the whole point. Come on, man. I'm a master at inciting anger in these people. But that's not what this channel's about. This channel's about spreading the truth, sharing good information, having good discussion, not getting demonetized on YouTube, all of those things. So, like I said last time, I have to temper myself a little bit so that it doesn't come across as hate speech. That's how YouTube perceives it. A little disappointing because, you know, I like to say the extra words, man. What's up, Nathan Films? Not John Venus, but equal. Equal. Off-Grid Hawaii says, yeah, we're using a deep mulch system in their house so they eat lots of bugs. Oh, that's cool. Nice. 4 eggs and raw milk each morning. Eco Steve, that's how... Eco Steve, you're like the... You look like a vegan hippie that would be walking the streets of Hilo, but you're jacked. It's like the coolest thing ever because you're actually a keto person. Like you're a hippie keto person. You're making a new trend, Eco Steve. I love that. What'd you guys think of the last interview with Tim? That was actually very well received by the vegan community. Believe it or not. I've had a lot of positive comments from that side. Michelle Lowe has contacted me. She wants to come on the channel now. I think that interview is going to open up the doors to a lot more vegan guests. Keep guessing, Loho. Keep guessing. He's up there. He's right there. You'll never guess. I've only talked about him once, and it was a while ago. If you guys guess, I'll say who it is. But either way, there's no confirmation yet for him. Although he has given the open invite to come on. So let me make sure I have everything set up on my end so that when Chris Kruger comes on, we will be good to go. I'll just surprise it off. No, not Mazard. He's small fries, man. Come on. Do you guys want to see more of a poignant debate, or do you guys like the discussion format that we're having? Because the discussion is very easy, right? It's easy on me. It's easy on them. Nobody's really, obviously me and Timmy last time, for instance, we disagreed on a few things and I put him on the hot seat just for a minute or two. Nobody can really put me on the hot seat. I'm so transparent. If they want to ask me any question, I will admit I'll admit everything. That's no problem with me. No, not Casey. He's going to get his own episode when that comes. Okay, so you guys like the discussions. All right. Yeah, he's not vegan either, by the way. Surprise vegan guest coming on later. Maybe. So there's only 50 of you or so in here right now. So I'm keeping that small. You guys know. So later on, it won't happen until Chris Kruger comes on. And we'll see what we want to do. And then you'll know who it is. Because I'm going to have to ask him live. I didn't have time to set up the coordination with him and this other guy. So. Thanks, JG Lee. I enjoy the 30-minute session. It really goes by very fast. It lets me warm up a little bit. And because I like to do Wednesday streams and Saturday streams, obviously. So it's a couple days in between. The debate is over, man. The debate is over. Yeah, the discussion format is more like, people want that intense, heated, face-to-face, one-on-one. That's why guys like Earthling Ed are growing their channels, because they show up to college campuses, they put a table, and then they've got the microphone, and they have a video of camera crew on them, and they start talking to people about why they shouldn't eat cows or drink milk or whatever, right? So people are addicted to that, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Are they going to fight? Are they going to yell at each other? They're waiting for that thing. And I don't mind doing that when it's necessary, but when these vegans show up to my channel, they're like really nice and respectful. Even Durian Rider, right? He comes through and is not the way that he appears on camera. So who's faking, man? I think somebody who would come in here and be lit and angry would be Freely. I think Freely would not be friendly at all. I think that are there any other vegans out there that actually got that aggression in them? I'm not going to tell you about the vegan anymore. You'll find out when Chris comes on. I'm going to ask him right away. So just hold your horses. Don't worry. I'm not trying to milk this. Just hello, redheaded princess. Good to hear from you today. Vegetable Police is 1 year vegan ex-vegan anniversary soon. Yeah, you're right. Taylor Marshall says, I had a vegan shame me on my post on Instagram because I showed off my signs of deterioration from veganism. What diet out there do people shame you for leaving due to health issues? Yeah, that's the truth of it. Of course, they think that you did something wrong, so that's their excuse, right? And the clip that I recently showed with Elise and her vegan deterioration, a lot of people did point out that she lost a lot of weight because it was during a time period where she lost a lot of appetite because of the mold issues she was experiencing. I want to speak on this a little bit, and I have actually put out quite a lengthy comment in response to that on the post. It's pinned at the top if you guys are interested in that. I posted a bunch of links to her videos because I went back in her timeline. Now, people are accurate in saying this about her. She did lose quite a bit of weight because she was having the mold allergies. She moved to vegan keto, and she was struggling to eat food. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So she did lose a lot of weight. It wasn't 100% because of the veganism necessarily. However, she was still struggling to find foods that even agreed with her body. Therefore, whether it was lack of appetite or lack of food options or lack of nutrition, who really cares? The bottom line is she didn't fully recover from that state until she went back to eating animal foods. She did recover significantly while still a vegan. I want to point that out. And again, we're not here to make stuff up. We want to find what's really going on. I'm not trying to paint the animal foods as better than veganism because I feel like it. I want to actually know that it's better because I want to do the best thing for myself and share that with everybody else. Ryan Vandermaas, you are very astute. Your title says Mick the Vegan. That's that's funny. And that's actually going to be Mick the Vegan. I forgot that I made the title that. But I made the title because Chris and I discussed beforehand that we are going to talk about Mick's response to him this week. It's just the perfect timing. I asked Chris to be on the show last week, and then Mick the Vegan made a response video to him 2 days ago in detail about one of the videos that Chris recently made. So I started doing all this research to kind of counteract those points, and I told Mick, "Hey, we're going to be covering your stuff tomorrow. Do you want to be on do you want to be in the chat so that at least you have, you can at least hear us discussing it live?" And he said, "Why be in the chat? Let's just get on the live stream." But he's going to be at work, so I don't know how exactly it's going to work. We'll see with Chris if he wants to do that, and we'll go from there. All right. So I forgot that I put Mick the Vegan in the title because I'm dumb. But I made this thumbnail a few days ago, and Mick told me yesterday that he wants to come on yesterday. So yeah, that's how those things work. Little Veggie Mama. This guy's talking about injuries working out in his video. Should we pull it up? Mick does look pasty and unhealthy. I have pointed that out as well. Whoa, this guy's got a big channel. 545,000, huh? You know, listen, let's talk about injuries. Uh-oh. I lost my chat. Let's talk about injuries for a second, guys. I have talked about the chest pain that I've been experiencing. So full transparency on that. It is not going away. It's really weird. I have some sort of chest pain here on the left. I've talked about it before. I don't have a problem with that. There's other chest pains that I've gotten that are what I would consider muscular tears. Those heal quickly. And those have always healed quickly in my experience. Now, this is a different thing. This is, I don't know what to call it, deeper into the bone. It's like in between the ribs. And I don't exactly know how to fix this or how long it's going to take. I don't know. But it's been going on about 7 months. Drew, have you heard of the specific carbohydrate diet for digestive ailments? I started it, but it's unsustainable. You have to make everything from scratch, basically. I'm considering carnivore. I have not heard of the carbohydrate diet for digestive ailments. I mean, I would call that veganism, but veganism seems to make digestive issues worse. And yeah, EcoSteve says some of the vegan deterioration is scary, and I agree. There's people who haven't lost weight that are still suffering signs of deterioration. I feel that if you want more information on that, go to Vegan Deterioration's channel. There's a lot of big name vegans that she talks about. I'm not going to say these people's names. You can go to that channel and check it out. Umberto. Yeah, I should actually probably go to the doctor. At least get an x-ray on that area just to make sure it's not anything serious. It's not worse when I breathe. No. It's basically not triggered by anything specific. It's just kind of throughout the day, maybe for 30 minutes at a time. It's a little more intense than others. I noticed that when I use my left arm to do stuff, like the other day I rode a bicycle and just leaning on my arm made it flare up a little bit. I think it's intercostaritis or whatever that word is. Ron Paul says, warning, warning, Morg is having a meat-hard chest attack. It's the old meat seizure. Maybe. We don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. I really can't pinpoint it at all. No shortness of breath. No tightness in the chest. Don't know if it's a cracked rib. It all started, I took 2 months off of working out. And then when I moved back to California, I didn't have any rings set up or anything. And then I got inspired one day to just go out in the backyard and do a bunch of push-ups to failure. So I did 2 sets of push-ups to failure with my feet raised. So I tried to make it a little more intense. And I just went as hard as I could because I hadn't worked out in a while. And then, of course, it started within days. Like within a couple days after that, I had this like deep pain that was sitting there. Hey, thanks for the X-ray cash, Umberto. Appreciate it. You'll need more training to challenge Tassie. Meat-consuming underling. True. Tassie is a beast. Tassie's coming on the channel soon, by the way, guys. I hope you're excited for that one. I think next week is just going to be all vegan week. Mark Tassie wants to pop in. Michelle Lowe wants to do it. And I think we may even have one more. Tassie will be the champion. Tassie is, an absolute, like I said before, elite athlete, bodybuilding champion, strong as hell, zero degeneration, perfect teeth. My teeth haven't been doing so good either lately. I definitely destroyed the foundation to my teeth as a vegan. But you guys have seen me playing around with the soda. I'm done. I'm done with the soda, guys. The soda is messing my teeth up. I'm absolutely done. You heard it here first. Yeah, I'm not happy about the teeth situation. All right. Chris Kruger is tapping in. Let's send him the link in a second here. Before Chris goes on, I have to show you guys a song that was written about me, and it really touched my heart. And I can't wait to... I mean, we're reaching such a high level of exposure on this channel. Nathan, be careful with that Coke, dude. I'm done. I've been going crazy, man. I've been drinking one coffee a day and like 2 sodas a day. Just going for it. And I'm done. I'm done. My teeth are fucked. I'm actually pretty depressed about it. It's the one thing that I really care about on my body. And it's being stripped away from me. And I hate it so much. I noticed some new enamel erosion going on yesterday. And I'm not happy about it. But it is what it is. 100% my teeth were by far more destroyed on the vegan diet. 2 liters a day. Yikes, that's a lot. I'm going to share the song. Just give me 1 second here. So this song, shout out to the creator of this wonderful song. It was actually written about the people impacting the carnivore keto movement, people that are helping the world. We're rescuing vegans. We're helping them get out of the vegan mind state. And yeah, you're actually going to be surprised who wrote this, but I think you're going to enjoy the material. So without further ado, I present to you. I actually don't know the name of the song, but here we go.
Primal ill health, Bobby's false perspective, dead in a monk.
Thank you,
yeah, for your purification. Chlorine
dioxide
or an alien worms. Thank you, yeah, thank you. Bobby's Perspective, Primal Edge Health, Sewage, Drew Morg, thank you for your purification of the vegan community, the online vegan activism scene.
You're welcome.
That isn't real activism.
You're welcome.
This is a bunch of people on a health journey. So thank you for your purification of these complete idiots.
You're
we don't
welcome.
want them in our movement. And you're
I love this video. I love this. He said he's thanking us for taking away all the people who aren't the real vegan advocates, the real vegans. So the people who actually care about health, the people who aren't just totally ding-dongs, who are just going to go down the rabbit hole and let themselves die for the animals, like him. I want to save all of you people. This should be a huge wake-up call to everybody who's still vegan. You need to ask yourself, are you a fake vegan? Or are you one of these vegans? Like Vegan Foot Soldier. You got to make sure that you purify all of your body mass, all of your muscle. You know, make sure.
You're doing such a great job. Such a magnificent job.
Bobby's perspective. Bobby's false perspective in the channel.
Purifying our movement. And soon we will be cleansed of these impurities. You're like chlorine dioxide. You're like annelid worms. Cleansing. The worms doing the great job getting in there and wiggling about, worming your way about, doing what worms do, and sucking up the shit, ingesting that shit, taking on that shit into your own being, becoming the shit, and then purifying us and taking the shit with you, devouring the shit and cleansing.
So, you're welcome, Vegan Foot Soldier. You are You are definitely welcome. I am very proud to be taking on the vegans who aren't good enough for you. I care about humans, and you've proven my point. Thank you so much. I hope that other vegans see that and wake up. Because he's basically saying that you weren't good enough, and he's hoping that they overturn. You have to be completely brainwashed on the Kool-Aid to be in his club. It's all about being in the club, the vegan club. He won't come on the channel. Vegan Foot Soldier will not come on the channel. He is he doesn't want it. He's scared. He honestly is scared. I genuinely think he's scared that I could say something to him that would snap him out of his little mental prison that he's got himself in. He's very weak-minded. Very weak-minded. Okay, I'm gonna send our boy Chris Kruger the link, and he'll be on soon. Hope you guys enjoyed that song. Appreciate the tribute, Vegan Foot Soldier, and the thanks. We've got a lot to cover today. I've got pages of notes, guys. I stepped up my game heavily. I spent probably 4 hours yesterday researching. People think Drew doesn't research the studies. I read the studies, guys. I don't read the abstract. I read the study. I dig deep. I went to college. I know how to cite shit. Okay? I'm giving away a little bit of the Drew Morgan sauce back here right now. Because all these dumb vegans, they come through. They think that I'm uneducated. Drew doesn't post any studies. No, I just don't want to argue around the studies. It's not the basis of my argument. I don't even need that. I just point to people. I say, hey, that person's a good vegan. They're unhealthy. What's up with that? That's weird, right? I thought they were eating the healthiest diet in the world. How come Ted Carr is on the healthiest diet in the world and needs to do a fruit cleanse? It doesn't make any sense. People making fun of Foot Soldier's body should go cycling in the mountains with him for a bit. I don't see him posting any crazy cycling things. They want to go race my brother. My brother rides bicycles every day. My brother will go smoke the wheels off of Vegan Foot Soldier any day of the week. And my brother rides 5 hours a week on his lunch break. Guaranteed. He sets personal bests, personal records, top 10 records in Orange County, California. Some of these trails got 6,000 people. Actually, their records are on there on Strava. That's a lot of people to beat. And he's got some top 10s on there. So if you want to bring some of your vegan people, the little twig boys up in here, like Vegan Foot Soldier, he can go get the wheels smoked off the back and he can go race my brother who rides 5 hours a week. How about that? My brother eats all kinds of shit. We had Chinese food last night. What? I don't ride bikes anymore, man. It's not my thing. Bobby's false perspective. I love that. Vegan versus carnivore road racing. What? That's already a thing. Go watch real cycling. There's like maybe 0 vegans out there in the field racing the meat eaters. It's not even a question about who's more athletic. And Tassie holds numerous fruitarian records. Okay. Where's my boy Chris? Where's my boy Chris Krug? Let me make sure all this stuff is... I've got so many screens open. You guys have no idea how confusing this gets. All right, guys. Oh, fruitarians are very easy to spot. Just look for the daddy long leg spiders. Anything you do as a vegan, you're just the best of the vegans because the bar is so low. The bar is so low. The current world champion is a vegan. Peter Sagan is not vegan. Get out of here. Peter Sagan is not. Oh my goodness, man. Hope Chris got my email. Give me 1 second, guys. I have to go into admin mode here. Un momento. Yes, he is Drew. Prove me wrong. Okay. We're just gonna. There we go.
Am I on time?
You're on time. You're on time, and you got some of the best quality that I've seen out of any guest so far.
In terms of my whole setup here?
So it looks great. I love it.
Okay, hold on. Wait, this could get better.
Oh
now?
yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Hold on. Let me bring you on.
Okay.
I don't want anybody to miss this. All right, Chris.
What's up?
Welcome to the channel. Let me do a little intro for you. Anybody who doesn't know Chris Kruger, he's been on YouTube for over 10 years. I believe you have been a college football athlete, right? Or did you play hockey?
I mean, I wouldn't put that in my bio. Like, my level of college football was about as bad as it can get. So.
Okay. He's a horrible he's a horrible college athlete. However, who cares? Yeah. The guy's 6'3", he's 200-something pounds now, looking jacked, no dad bod. Let me give the foundation to the Chris Kruger program, the Kruger Body.
Yeah.
He promotes something called beasting, feasting, and fasting. All right. Essentially, I'm going to boil this down quickly. You've got the beasting. You need to move your body before you start consuming food for the day. You need to go for at least a walk, right? Preferably an intense workout. Now you go for the fasting. That's the fun part. You eat a nice big meal.
Oh, that's the feasting, Drew.
The feasting. Yes.
Yeah.
The feasting is the fun part.
Yeah.
So you move to the feasting, and then you get your nice big meal in. Typically, we're talking keto as a foundation, although Chris, and something I do like about the way that you do your thing is that you're a little more flexible with your food. You're not like 100% carnivore, although I think you're down with the carnivore thing, right?
I would say I'm carnivore adjacent, but we can get into all of that stuff.
Great.
On the call.
Okay, perfect. And then the fasting. Chris is a proponent of fasting, at least from the intermittent fasting standpoint. I believe that your optimal way is OMAD, 1 meal a day. That's what you consider?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to clarify. On the Google Hangouts, is it clear that like you talk and then I talk?
No, because I have it souped up a little bit. So what you're seeing right now is exactly what the audience is seeing.
Okay, great. So the audio, they get both audios?
They get both audios and they can see both of us at the same time.
So unlimited interjections.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Okay, let's do this thing.
Yes.
Okay. So beasting, feasting, fasting.
Yeah.
Beasting, yes, you have to do some exercise. What you need to do if you want to avoid all chronic Western diseases, diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, all this nonsense, is on a regular basis, on a daily basis, is you need to deplete the stored energy in your liver and your skeletal muscles. Okay? The problem we all have is where the average American eats 7 times a day and is sedentary. So just imagine your car has been parked in your driveway with a full tank of gas, and then you take it only to the gas station. There's no place to put that gas. You're basically pumping it into the back seat or the front seat or the trunk, all places that should not have gas. And that's what we do when we don't take the energy out of our liver, take the energy out of our bloodstream, take the energy out of our skeletal muscle and use it and burn it off, drive that car around town. When we don't do that and we just keep going back to the gas station, that's how we end up insulin resistant and with high blood sugar. And that blood sugar corrodes your blood vessels. That's why you end up with peripheral neuropathy, is all the little capillaries in your fingers and toes and feet and ankles gets burned through. It's corrosive. All that sugar in your blood is corrosive when there's no place to put it. Just like in the backseat of your car, it's going to, smell like gas, and then your car is going to light on fire. So that's what diabetes is. So the first step is beasting. And in nature, there is no free lunch. There's no free breakfast. There's no free snack. You're either going to hunt, fish, forage, or, even if you're a prey mammal, you're doing all that work of standing there all day, munching on grass. But nothing is for free. And that's the problem is we drive the big metal box up to the window and they serve us hot, free food, or, food that we didn't work for.
Physically work for.
Exactly. So you have to deplete the stored energy. You have to empty the tank. And then the beautiful thing is after that, it's the cycle, to people that are like, they get stuck on one of the things. Oh, beasting, I don't want to exercise so hard, or fasting, that sounds impossible. And really, every step makes the next 2 steps easier. So you beast, you do the work that it takes, you use the energy, deplete, and then you feast and you fill back up. So exercise depletes the energy and damages the muscles. So you're taking in building blocks, amino acids, protein, and you're also taking in energy. So you replete, you rebuild the muscles that are damaged, and then you fill the energy back up. And then you just fast until you do those first 2 steps again. And if you want to get jacked, do that cycle twice a day. If you want to just be lean, fit, healthy, and strong, do that cycle once a day.
Perfect. Yeah, since I've been following you, I've been noticing that you were doing OMAD for a long time, and then it's funny because I started commenting on your videos like, Chris, what would you do if you wanted to gain weight or put on muscle? And then all of a sudden, right at that time, you're like TSC Heart of a Champion 100%. And then you started, I don't know, putting on all this bulk, and you've been getting ripped again. So what have you been doing differently the past few months?
Yeah, last year I was actually getting jacked, and I had a chronic, it's like tennis elbow, but I got it from jiu-jitsu. So I had one move. I'm a white belt in jiu-jitsu, and I have one move I can do where I'm just going to hold onto your sleeve and your gi and choke you with my legs, the leg triangle. So I would just do that over and over and over again, and holding onto the sleeve so I could set up the choke, just set up this chronic tennis elbow condition. So there was really 6 months where my only beasting is I would go out on the street in front of my house right here, and I would do 10 minutes worth of sprinting. And that whole time, that 6 months, I'm still a lean, fit, fast, strong, natural athlete, doing, like you said, OMAD, 1 meal per day, beast, feast, fast. And the beasting was just down to 10 minutes. But the thing is, the reason beasting, feasting, fasting is so powerful is that when you set those steps up in order, what you're really doing is optimizing your hormones. So most people, the default settings for American life are to dysregulate your hormones and make you sick. And real life, the default settings on life are an eating disorder. And then people are like, oh, Chris, you're only eating 1 meal a day. Is fasting an eating disorder? No. Beasting, feasting, and fasting together are the only eating order that makes any sense. So what we're really doing is optimizing our hormones. Every one of those steps makes the next 2 steps easier. And just doing those steps without counting macros or worrying about calories or doing anything else, your hormones are good. Everything, sex drive, the way you feel, the way you look, it's all good. And then if you want to take it to great, you just turn the dials up on each thing. Because none of those things, what I want to say is health is not just a state. It is a series of skills. And most people have 0 health skills. So New Year's comes, and they're like, I'm going 100% in on whatever the thing is. Whether it's P90 Extreme or it's Insanity, the sequel program. And now they get extreme or insane, but they don't build any skills. So if you learn how to beast, how to train your body, how to do, my 10-week Heart of a Champion program that you mentioned, you're going to develop the skills to do all of those exercises. With feasting, once you start feasting and you get better and better at it, and you can start turning the dials. That's what I call it. Is there's a level that I can feast where it's like, yeah, ice cream, whatever. And there's a level where I can feast where it's like ice cream, not so much. And then fasting, same thing. But everybody, start fasting and do just 14 hours a day. Like, no matter what, if I'm trying to get big and strong and powerful, or if I'm just content to be like lean and thin or whatever, is 14 hours a day. Like, everyone should do that. And you would immediately see chronic Western disease take a nosedive. But people can't even fathom that sort of fast. And 14 hours is so easy. But they can't fathom it because they're so hormonally dysregulated. You're riding that blood sugar roller coaster. Your energy spikes, your energy crashes. And you can't even think, oh, well, if I sleep 7 or 8 hours a night and I just stop eating a few hours before bed and I don't eat for the first few hours after I wake up, they can't make it. And that's the thing, is you do all 3 steps. You don't start with the hard part. Always start with the easy part, beasting. I got a little bit of exercise. And then the next step, feasting. Oh, well, that's easy. Fasting, once I've trained my body, I've refueled it, then the fast becomes so easy. And then every time you repeat that loop, it's like you're, the strength coach Pavel from Russia likes to say, you're greasing the groove. Every time you do a skill, you grease that groove and it gets easier and easier. So you build up those skills and then you can turn the dials to wherever you want to be.
Yeah, and what I do like about you, like you said, you even mentioned ice cream. Like, I watched a video a while back. You went to like your mom's house or something for Christmas or something.
Sounds right. Maybe mother-in-law.
Maybe, yeah. You said that you ate a bunch of food and like you basically gained like 5-6 pounds in a matter of a weekend, and then you fasted for like 2 or 3 days while still exercising, and then you were like straight shredded again, as if nothing even happened.
Well, that's the thing. And the last thing I want is for people to be like, oh, we fasted for 2 days. That's impossible. I'm never doing that.
Right.
Don't get discouraged by that. Like, it's just a skill that you build. Start with 14 hours. It's easy. And then you can build up to 23. And you never need to go longer than that. But what I don't want people ever doing, this happened to a client of mine, very wealthy, successful dude. And, you know, like most people, it's always a last ditch effort. Like, oh, I'm going on this amazing vacation. I need to get shredded. No, dude, lock in on these skills. But he was so concerned about going on this vacation that, I'm sorry, I'm going to end up coughing. I should have brought a glass of water. That's really silly.
You can go grab one if you want. And by the way,
you guys gonna oh, man.
The Wi-Fi is cutting on you. That was funny.
Oh. So it was like remixing me.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
Dang it. Drew, can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah, no problem.
Audience, hold on. Leave the comments right now.
I'm gonna play your transformation video right now.
Oh, awesome.
So go ahead and do it. All right, guys. So Chris has a I'm going to show you guys a little bit about kind of his backstory with his whole thing. So he got injured several years ago, and he basically got super fat.
I really don't understand how anyone could live like this. It's depressing.
Fat gut.
There we go. No pills, no powders, no protein bars, no vitamins.
Heart of a champion, baby. Make it happen.
I feel great already. I've been feeling a lot better.
I want to be ripped. I want to have a 6-pack.
2 miles down.
Look at that.
So that's actually week 2 TSC. Heart of a champion. Okay, cut. Goal, swoop in. It did like this.
I'm really pumping it up.
Hi.
6-pack abs. Oh, no. The muscles coming back a little bit. Make it happen, baby.
Never have violence against women. It's not the pills, it's not the powders, it's not the protein bars.
Rome wasn't built in a day. Burn 21 pounds of fat in 21 days. Find a solution and squeeze the most out of life on Christmas Day.
Please subscribe. You gotta have a plan.
Mild to bananas to nuts. Heart of a champion. Crazy day. And then one of the cops said to me, make your transformation happen. Kim Kardashian said, use the ab rocket. 5 weeks ago,
I got out of the shower today and I was like, Wolverine!
it's a globo gym. You have trouble understanding that, look at a map.
It's like a Durin Rider video, kind of.
A turkey
But it's
sandwich.
good.
Felt a deep burn. Daily today reminds me,
Chest hair's gotta go.
I'm not special. I'm stronger. A 10-pack or an 8-pack. It's ridiculous. So we've got survival with the fatness. I mean, it is mind-boggling.
Starting to get leaner.
The abs are back.
That's foolhardiness. Boy, do I feel great. Anyway, I looked out this way, and then, it's still nice as something in Germany. You can follow me on Twitter. Meryl Streep, man, is she a fantastic actress. 8 weeks ago,
Meryl Streep, man, is she a
253
fantastic
pounds.
actress.
There's no models hired to dance behind me. There's no professional lighting.
you have it. It beats in your chest. Are you really? It's like Rocky Balboa. Week 1. Ugh. Obese. Pedro and Napoleon Dynamite. I'm in shape. I feel great.
Look great. Feel great.
Do it for the people that care about you. Hopefully you get where I'm coming from. You look just like that guy.
I love the song, by the way. I don't know where you got that thing.
Remember I had...
There, that's the classic Chris Kruger right there.
All right, and we're good.
I don't know why it does this lagging thing when I'm on my third monitor. It's like, done.
What does that need? More RAM? Is that still a thing?
I guess. Okay. I just wanted to show that in case people were still unfamiliar with you. Just to give you a little idea also of who my audience is primarily. Because I don't know how familiar you are with my channel. But basically, I'm ex-vegan as of about 9 months ago. And the people that I have here are primarily ex-vegans and carnivores, and even some vegans are still obviously around trolling my content.
Of course.
What I find interesting about... I feel like the ex-carnivore community who has gone kind of carnivore is very closely tied to the people like you, because I don't think you've ever been vegan in your life, right?
No. I think there was probably like a few months at my poorest when I was like living in an apartment with 2 friends when I was like, oh, well, if I just eat these multigrain Cheerios and I get the tri-blend protein with all plants from Costco, I'm almost vegetarian.
Right. So,
but never purposely vegan.
So this audience is not going to be, scared off about the fasting stuff. We know about that stuff. A lot of us have experimented with the vegan diet. Most of us here, and a lot of us are ex-vegans. So like we've been through the fasting and the juice fasting. I myself have done a 30-day juice fast. I've experimented with plenty of intermittent fasting protocols. I've done a couple-day water fast here and there. I've done OMAD for a couple weeks of time period. So and we're all kind of like sharing and open about it. So I would say it's a progressive community in terms of like health, openness, and awareness, and these type of advanced techniques, I would say. So feel free to share anything about that. It's not going to come as a shock to anybody around here, I'm sure. Especially when you got a guy that's like athletic and looks good. They're not going to be like, hey, you got an eating disorder, Mr. OMAD guy. Like, no, what I talk about around here, actually, a big foundation to my channel is a results-based approach. Like, if you're getting good results, even if you're a vegan, I say, good, keep doing what you're doing. I'm not here to convert vegans back to eating animal foods. I'm here to share how not eating animal foods basically started to destroy my digestion and my health. And then you're kind of like, from the other side, you dabble into the vegan side where you start taking on some of the vegan heat. Because I'm sure there's a lot of vegans on your channel that are like, keto guy, you're the bad guy. You're saying to eat more animals. How dare you? Cholesterol, heart disease, blah, 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 blah.
Baloney, homie.
Baloney, homie. So,
one thing that they can never handle is you just talk to them about TG-HDL ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So can you get your triglycerides to the rock bottom? And then can you get your HDL up as high as possible? And they come back with all sorts of nonsense. And they can only ever respond to you if they purposely miss your point. And just flat out, show me the diet and lifestyle that produces the best possible TG/HDL ratio. And this is the last YouTube video I did, pointing out that obviously nobody is vegan. We need to kill animals, otherwise they're coming to eat your ass. I don't know if you've ever seen the rap video from Little Dicky, but if you go outside your house right now and there's 3 wolves, they're going to eat your ass and your pussy too. So, so animals always must be killed on your behalf, whether it's wolves or rats or whatever. The fact that you are safe in your house means animals are being killed on your behalf. And you just, I'm sorry, I'm going off the rails with my last video. There was some point within the video that I wanted to get to.
Well, I'm trust me, we're gonna get more. We're naturally segueing in, baby. Because I have notes. I showed you the notes that I took on your video, Mike the Vegan's video, which I do want to get more into. Oh, and by the way, I told Mike yesterday via DMs. I said, hey, Chris happens to be on my channel this weekend. If you want to show up to the chat, that would be great. Just so that you know, we are going to be covering your content in this video or in this live stream. So you're welcome to come along. We got nothing to hide, right? And then he said, if you guys want me to come on the show, I'd be willing to do that. So just so that you know, he's out work. He said that let him know. I have his phone number. He gave me his phone number. He said text him if we want him to come on the show.
What a cool guy.
So if you're interested in that, I can text him right now and let him know approximately what time so that he can time it with his lunch break and he'll jump on.
You know what? I always say, Mike doesn't need to be Mike the Vegan. Mike can just be Mike the cool, funny guy.
You did say that, yeah.
I really like this guy. Like,
except for the disease filter you gave him, right?
I mean,
so should I text him then?
Oh, for sure.
All right, I'll let him know. I'll say, hey, let us know what time works for you, and then we'll get you in here. Give me 1 second. Continue on with what you were saying, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, since we're gonna let it simmer, wherever we want to jump in and get started. But yeah, nobody is truly vegan. And one of the points that I made in that video, and if later all of your people can go watch that video, I would love it. But that as a human being, your life is worth so much more than the lives of any number of animals. And I said, let's say you live to be 100. You're fortunate enough to live to be 100. And how many cows can you eat a year? 2? Like 2, you'll be jacked. You're eating 2 cows a year. That's 200 cows. Okay? Say you eat 2 chickens a day. That's 73,000 chickens. Have you ever met a chicken?
Yes.
Your life is just, yeah, exactly. Your life is just worth as much as 73,000 chickens. If that's what it takes for you to have perfect health. Okay. And yes, some vegans last longer than others, but almost every vegan is just a future ex-vegan. And it's not until years later. And this is one of the points that Mike made that maybe we can get in with him. And I only had a chance to watch his video once, but I'm going to go back, watch it again, break it down, yada, yada.
Yep.
But one of the points that he made is like, you know what? All these ex-vegans, they only become ex-vegans because they start dating meat eaters. Yes. When you isolate yourself in a cult that only self-reinforces that ideology, and then you step outside and you start dating people that are reasonable, and they start injecting reason into your life and say, hey, look, your health isn't that great. Hey, maybe you would feel better with this. Maybe the fact is no one is really vegan in the first place. Maybe the fact is it really doesn't matter if you slaughter 73,000 chickens if you have your best life. When you start getting around those people, yes, people become ex-vegans. And that was like Mike's great anecdotal point that no, vegans just quit because they start dating non-vegans. Yes,
just so you know, one of the girls he brought up is actually my girlfriend, right?
Oh no, I didn't know that at all.
So he said Elise was vegan for years, and then she just started dating a carnivore.
Is that raw alignment?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea you were dating. I left a comment because I just got exposed. I didn't know who she was at all. I saw some tweet about her, and then I went to her YouTube channel and was like, hey, good for you. That's great. I don't know if you guys saw these comments.
I didn't see it.
Oh. Well, I left this comment like, good for you, help people transition to healthy omnivore. That's awesome. And then somebody left a comment or reply to my comment that's like, dude, you're pathetic. Quit trying to pick up girls on YouTube.
Right.
I
Yeah.
was like, I'm over here happily, faithfully married, no interest in Elise at all other than to say,
Congratulations. You have a positive vibe.
Yeah.
Well, also the thing is that again, vegans get things wrong all the time, especially when they're like saying these things. So, Mike the Vegan's 300 something thousand subscriber channel, of course, is going to get has more weight than anything I say, even though the truth of the matter is, in Elise's case, we didn't date for 3 months after she started eating animal foods anyways. So like his timeline is just incorrect to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people will see that and be like, oh, that makes total sense. Oh, Ravana, Elise, okay, check. They're like, okay, everybody, don't date a meat eater. Like that could be terrible for your vegan career, Like, how about put your health first and don't worry about whether you're in or out of the vegan cult. And I don't know if you saw the video that I played before this when I was singing along like an idiot. Did you see that?
Oh, no,
before
I didn't see any of that. I'll have to go back and watch.
Well, Vegan Foot Soldier made a song about Bobby's perspective, myself, primal edge health, and he's saying that he's tongue in cheek, but he's thanking us for purging the vegan movement of these lazy activists, people who weren't really vegan in the first place. So he's basically saying like, we're cleaning out the fake vegans so that the real vegans can go do the real holy work together and rise to the next level. It's like, what kind of wacky club are you guys trying to do here? Like, if veganism could stand on its own 2 feet and produce really good health results, people would just go into it for that and stay vegan for that.
And the thing is, I would love to be vegan if veganism were true, but it's false. Like, you were vegan.
Correct.
So vegan is supposed to be the best thing for my health. It's supposed to be the best thing for the planet and the most humane thing for animals. But when you stop and think like, oh, maybe just as many animals are killed in your plant-based agriculture. Maybe animals are killed anyway. Maybe animals need to be killed so they don't infest your house and infect you with disease. Best for the planet? Maybe the worst thing that we can do is flush all of our topsoil down the drain because we don't have ruminants on the ground. And best for your health? Obviously not the case, which is why almost every vegan is a future ex-vegan or someone that will clearly sacrifice their physical health and mental stability at the altar of veganism.
And Vegan Foot Soldier is one of those people because he looks emaciated. He's recently tried to actually go to the gym and prove that he can put on muscle mass. And he's been working out for, inconsistently with lack of skill, but still, like, you should gain something. And he basically put on only fat. So it's really interesting. He showed before and after pictures, and people are just completely pissing all over his results because they're like, dude, what is going on here? Of course, the meat eaters think, oh my God, you've just embarrassed yourself beyond belief. And then, of course, the vegans are like, oh, I see a pec there. You've gained a little bit of something. It's like, dude, at 6 months, you could put on 30 pounds of mass if you're eating
if it's your
foods.
First 6 months?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's when you're on the gains train. When you got those newbie gains. Yeah, well, I mean, but by the way, did we get a text back from Mike the Vegan?
We have not yet. So I was going to give him a few minutes to simmer, but I have some questions here.
Okay.
That we can probably get into with you specifically, and then I have like the Mike content. Whether he's here or not, I still want to cover the Mike content because that video that he made in response to you was obviously something that he put a lot of effort into. You made a video. I don't even know what your original video was about, but it was, it was 5 months ago.
Yeah. Well, Mike just had. I mean, it's a really fun video. It was a cute video about, hey, you're going home for the holidays, and these are the 10 things your family members are going to give you a hard time about. So, what are your 10 comebacks? Where do you get your protein from? Turns out vegans have higher levels of albumin, blood protein. Great. That's the protein circulating in your blood because it isn't becoming muscle.
I have all that covered. I have the albumin. I've got multiple sources. I've got all kinds of stuff. It's gonna be good. That's why I want him here, because it's like, hey, we are able to also use the Google machine and look at the actual data and actually read this stuff too. And the information that we have seems to surpass your information. It really does.
Yeah.
So,
well, this is a few months ago also, and I got away from doing the vegan content. Like, I want to just be like, guys, let's beast, feast, fat. Like, I want to spread beasting, feasting, and fasting and help people get healthy.
yeah.
But I feel like as long as like vegan ideology is spreading, they're doing documentaries. Like, one thing I want to do forever is just sit down and go like scene by scene through What the Health. Because I just got a message the other day from someone's like, dude, I just saw What the Health for the first time. I went vegan and now my triglycerides are like 238 or something. So I'm just not sure it's right. Well, of course it's not right. Like, you just saw your own health. But the thing is that the vegans will always tell you, don't believe what is so obvious, like right to your face, so in front of you that you can see and feel and taste and touch for yourself. Just believe what I say. I'm an expert.
Right.
And that's the nonsense that we have to reject, is like, unless the experts can produce actual results that we can see and feel. No,
like
they can't.
They have good paper studies. They have good science. It sounds good, but with the people actually putting the stuff to the test after 5-10 years, they're not getting those results. It's very obvious.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing I did with Vegan Gains, is I made a video in response to him, and then all I did was copy and paste his sources, because my whole point was, go read Richard's sources.
Yes.
And when you read them and think about them, and there are some papers where even the headline of the paper, the whole thing of the paper fits neatly into the vegan box, right? But when you actually look at their data and map it out for yourself, I did one, it's this whole chart about LDL and how terrible it is. And I totally remade their graph with their data, but I made a graph that actually allows you to see what's going on. And it destroys the entire paper. And, I was going back and forth with Richard for a little bit. And it got to the point where it was just so boring for me, because he intentionally misses the point, but then makes a 3-hour video missing the point. And for me, it's like,
he's an expert at that.
It should be like really fun for me, right? Like, my channel's smaller than his. He's making this 3-hour video about me. I could only watch like an hour and a half of it until I was so bored I didn't even respond to it. The other thing I want to share with your audience, and you guys can go to Amazon right now and get it if you want. But when I was talking with all this stuff with one of my very successful clients, like, this dude's a mega millionaire. He's like, Chris, what you're talking about sounds just like this Eric Hoffer books. This guy was like a self-taught social psychologist. And he has this book called, what is it called? The True Believers. So it's the True Believers. It's got like Hitler on the cover. And it's about mass movements, whether it's fascism, communism, religious extremism. And you go through this book, and everything he talks about, you could just like pull out whatever the word is and put the word vegan in, and it is 100% on point.
Right.
Like the same thing that drives people, and I said this in the last video that I made, is the same like frustration or insecurity or lack of success that drives people into Nazism, communism, fascism, whatever, is the same thing that has people latch on to Occupy Wall Street or veganism or any other mass movement or white supremacy. Like, you're really bummed out about the way your life is going, then scapegoat some other group and organize yourself around that and find like-minded people. Instead of think for yourself, be an individual, don't accept what people tell you.
That's another core message of my channel, is like results-based focus, which then requires you to have some sort of self-reflective skill set and just, open-mindedness, basically. Ask yourself the questions, do I really feel better than yesterday? Am I really gaining that super muscle mass that the vegans told me? Like, when I did my juice fast, for instance, I was told that the reason that raw veganism wasn't working for me was that my digestive system was coated with some like mucus layers and stuff like that, where it wasn't
the magical meat.
Right. It wasn't able to digest the raw food as good as it should be able to. But once you do the cleanse, then you're going to have like fresh villi and all this stuff, and you're going to be able to actually absorb that stuff. That did not happen. I didn't believe it blindly. I said, I'm going to test this stuff, but again, there's a lot of people that are just, they go down the thing and they go down that path because they want to believe it. And I wanted to believe it too. But again, I still left the option for it not to work out. You know, I wasn't going to be like, I'm doing this no matter what. And I totally believe in this. No. I still wanted to test it for like the greater good, basically. It was like a gift to humanity. Like if this is real shit, then it's going to be worth sharing, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I always say, like, if veganism were true, I'd be first in line.
Yeah.
Wait, you mean I get the best health? I save the planet. It's great for animals. Like, I would love to have that smugness. Like, if their story were true, then yes, everybody should be a vegan. Right. But if your story's not true, then it's up to every individual to say, okay, if veganism affects your health in this manner, what is that worth to you? And to me, it's worth the lives of at least 73,000 chickens. 73,000 chickens, well, that times $5. You can get a giant chicken for $5 at Costco. Like, chickens are just not worth that much. And the only reason they're worth anything is because of their value as a food. And to put...
By the way, Mick's coming on in a few minutes.
What's that?
Mike. Is it Mike or is it Mick? God,
I'm pretty sure it's Mike. It's Mike like microphone.
Mike is coming on in a few minutes.
Man, I love this guy.
Me too.
You know, so right here in this office, I got an email a couple months ago. It's from my high school that I graduated from 18 years ago almost. And they said, hey, this girl that some of you may have known, and I knew her because I used to babysit her little brother. I just loved her family. They're like the greatest. And they had an oldest daughter, a middle daughter, and a youngest son. And the middle daughter, who was just like the most smiley, beautiful, like I remember her probably from when she was in middle school. And then I went away to college and left and haven't seen them. But just this most wonderful little girl, grown up. She was 25 years old. She's out rock climbing in one of the national parks. I get this email from my high school. A rock fell off, struck her, and killed her. I'm getting chills, like sitting in this office, just reading this email.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, my heart broke so hard for that girl and her family. And like really fucked me up for like days, if not weeks. And to think like, I would, you know, like if I could, whatever the religious sacrifice could be, like if I could march 10 million head of cattle into a fucking volcano to get this girl's life back for her parents, I would do it in a heartbeat. Absolutely. Every individual human life, at least to the parents, the friends, the family, the siblings, is worth 10 million cattle. And it just amazes me that anyone who, you know, tries to not be speciesist could be so blind to the value of human life. And no, I do not want any animal to suffer unduly or be killed unnecessarily. But there is necessary death and possibly some necessary suffering. Like, I want the animals to be killed with as little suffering as possible. Absolutely. But if it makes a difference to your health, to your life, then that's a difference that we can weigh and decide is worth it. And if vegan, whatever his name is, the guy that tried to make some muscle, foot soldier?
Vegan foot soldier, yeah. He doesn't show his face, by the way.
Oh.
It's part of his shtick. He wears a mask and he never shows his face. He's a character, basically. Yeah, right.
Okay. I wonder if we've got something to hide. But if your life as a human being is dramatically better and it only costs 200 cows or 73,000 chickens, then do it. And then, you know, let's get to the bottom of what is actually best for the environment. And I think when we actually find the real data, not what we saw in Cowspiracy, is that all animal agriculture is like 3 to 5% of greenhouse gases, and grass-fed beef is probably carbon neutral or even carbon sequestering. So it's actually good for the environment. So if we can get down to the truth and realize that all the BS is just that BS, then we can't be vegan. Right. You know, and then it becomes, how can I be the most ethical omnivore?
I
So
agree.
let's ask those questions and be introspective about it, and then go find the answers.
So last week I had on a vegan friend of mine. His name's Timmy, from Mississippi Vegan Timmy. And I kind of went through this mental exercise with him, and he's like, let's not be a bore. Like, I don't want to get into that. That's a thing I don't want to do. And this isn't to slam him or anything like that, but I kind of cornered him with this question, and it came down to this. Vegans want less suffering, they want less killing, unnecessarily killing, all that. I get that. But what I said was, hey, let's say that each year I kill an equivalent of 2 cows, and on each year you kill an equivalent of 3 gophers. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? You're killing more, but they're smaller animals.
Yeah, 50% more.
Right.
The answer is he's a monster.
He's a monster, right? He's the bad guy. He needs
to switch to carnivore right now.
Exactly. And he's like, let's not go there. I don't even want to think about that. And I get that.
Oh, yeah, of course. You don't, if you're a vegan and you're committed to zealously following this ideology, you don't want to think at all. The whole reason to be vegan is to not think. The whole reason to be a Nazi or a fascist or a religious fanatic is to not think. That's the whole premise of the Eric Hoffer book that I mentioned about following mass movements, the true believer. You don't want to think, you want to believe, because thinking in your past life has made you frustrated and unsuccessful. But now you're part of a mass movement that is bigger than yourself, and you don't have to think anymore. That's the beauty. You just get to go on following, and anyone that doesn't believe like you believe is a heretic. And now, they need to be converted.
I want to ask you about this, because one of the best arguments that vegans use, and this I truly have no rebuttal for, is if they would like to consume plants because of the spiritual, emotional energy behind it. They just simply do not feel good putting an animal into their body. From an emotional standpoint, they're not even really necessarily talking about the deficiency or that type of thing. So what do you think about that?
I think 100%. If you don't want to eat meat, don't eat it. If you're willing to sit there as your health fails while not eating meat, then don't. That's fine. That's great. In fact, I don't want to actually provide any, I'll just say it's a girl, a woman, but I don't want to provide any other information about her because people would figure her out.
Okay.
But I knew a woman once who was sexually abused by her stepfather. And this guy lived out in the Midwest and just loved steak. And he would cook on the coals in his garage all winter long. So, just because he just had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And this girl had eating disorders, all sorts of emotional problems, and you could not convince her ever to eat red meat. So if you've got some sort of deep-seated psychological thing that prevents you from eating meat because of its association with, a child molesting stepfather, then don't eat meat. I'm not trying to cause you harm. I'm not forcing meat upon you. What I reject is when they try to force plants upon us.
Right.
And look, I'll say that I'm keto adjacent. I'm carnivore adjacent. Carnivore absolutely works. We can see it working. Keto absolutely works for most people up into a certain point. And then it's, I think what I don't want to see is carnivore people and keto people get ideological about their diets.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, really. I haven't seen it happening.
Well, I think here's one thing that I see happen is, I'm following the vegan mass movement. My health fails. I realized it was a total fraud. I was deceived. So now instead of becoming a free thinker, I just jump to carnivore. And I think there are some of the same appeals to carnivore. Fuck you guys, we're right, it's the best thing. All those things you thought about vegan, they're not true about veganism, they're true about carnism. So eat only meat. And it's you don't need to go there either. I saw this carnivore guy that posted, his favorite carnivore meals. And one of them was had a pickle as a garnish. And he's you can exclude the pickle if it's offensive.
Yeah.
Bro, eat the pickle, okay? Eat the pickle.
Yeah, I agree.
So
that's insane.
And I've made some videos that critiqued keto, right? Because the easiest thing to do, the place where people crush is they just position themselves at the top of these mass movements, right? So if you're the biggest carnivore guy on the planet or you're the biggest keto guy on the planet, you have all these people that are just like flowing to you because they want to believe that keto is the only answer.
Right.
And keto is not the only answer. And so many people get stuck on keto. It's like, well, where do we go from here? Well, maybe let's crank the fat down a little bit. Like maybe let's make some adjustments. So I used to have in my program, I've switched it around a little bit, but I said, there are 5 diets, at least, that can absolutely work with you if you beast and feast and fast and you do a couple other things right. So if you want to go carnivore, absolutely. If you do it the right way, you can make it happen. No problem. Keto, you can absolutely have true health, great fitness doing keto. You can use a balanced diet. You can put all those carbs back in, chop the fat in half, put the carbs back in. You can be ripped, lean, strong, healthy. Awesome. Mediterranean diet is totally healthy. So there's 4 diets right there, but no one's going to go bonkers promoting a balanced diet.
Right.
Like you're saying like, I don't think carnivore is going to get zealous and ideological. Well, compare it to a Mediterranean diet. No one's like, you guys are fucking idiots. You're so stupid. You're not doing the Mediterranean diet. It's proven. Look at the science.
Yeah.
No one's saying that.
No.
So all 4 of those can work. And you know what else can work? What 5th diet is totally healthy and reasonable when it's done reasonably? What?
Vegetarian?
Vegetarian and or whole foods plant-based.
Okay.
So plant-based just means the base, the biggest portion is plants. So let's make a diet that is 51% whole plant foods. You could easily do that with sweet potatoes. Like I think depending on the time of year or what I'm training for or doing, like I'm probably on a whole foods plant-based diet.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry carnivore, sorry keto. 52% of my calories come from sweet potatoes, squash, carrots. Oh, don't want to make people crazy here, but rice, white rice, totally possible. And then the most important thing for the health of any diet is that you probably get at least 25, maybe 30, and maybe even up to 50% of your calories from complete protein. And the best complete protein is animal protein, 25. So I can be whole foods, plant-based, ring the bell, yay, good for me, and eating 25 to 30% of my calories from top sirloin and be whole foods, plant-based with a protein focus and totally healthy. But it's only when we attach our there's no identity there. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, you know what? I'm whole foods, plant-based with a focus on complete protein from animal sources. There's no identity.
Yeah, you're too balanced to have an identity.
Oh, yeah. So it's only when you go away from the middle and towards the poles that the people really get dug in about like their side.
Yeah, it's like kind of becomes like who can go deeper kind of thing. Like it's almost like a challenge to see how carnivore you can be.
What's up, dude?
Oh my gosh, Mike!
How's it going?
Hey, Mike.
How you guys doing? Good to be here. We got 4 people. How many people do we have? Oh, I'm seeing like a weird ghost version of myself.
It's you and Chris Kruger. Mm-hmm. You guys are sharing the same one way, and then you got me.
That ghost version is just like the death filter.
The lack of protein. It's because I didn't get enough protein. It's me in 5 years if I don't quit a vegan diet. Honestly, no.
Mike, you'll quit by then. Come on.
You'll quit. Come on, you'll quit.
I'm pushing 8 years. I don't think I'll quit by then. I don't think I will ever quit, but nobody thinks they're going to quit. So we'll see.
He's starting out with honesty. I like it.
Slippery,
I like it.
I'm saying anything. Everybody thinks that they will succeed, but I think I will succeed as well. So,
Mike, you can have a steak and a hug for me anytime, bro.
A steak and a hug. Yeah, I think I'll have to pass on that. I'll take a hug. I'm always down for a hug.
Okay, buddy.
But Mike, where are you, dude? Maybe a tofu steak. I'll take a tofu steak.
That's not a steak, bro.
Well, what have you guys been talking about? What do you guys want to touch on?
What were we just talking about? We were riffing on not being ideological, whether you are on the carnivore side or the vegan side. I think you can probably dive into that. And then, of course, I've got a whole list of points and talking points to your most recent video or one of your most recent videos regarding Chris cool. That whole thing.
Okay, yeah. First of all, I just want to set the tone for the conversation. I feel like we basically already did. I'm not here to like attack anybody. I think neither of us have any real animosity toward each other. But obviously, it's it's an idea. It's an idea sort of head bashing here. It's not like a personal head bashing. So just setting the tone. And I will say, when I filmed my video, it was getting freaking long. And the part that I edited out was talking about this exact point. Because you said, oh, don't make veganism your identity. Don't do any of these things. Then that can lead to problems, being too dogmatic. And my response right away, which I did edit out just because it was getting to like 33 minutes, which I'd like to not go over 30 minutes, was really that everybody is going to have an identity. You have an identity that is, I eat meat, and your identity involves, maybe making videos.
My point is that's not my identity though. Like I eat meat, but
it's still part of your ethos. It's still part of who you are, enough to have you talk about, make a video about it.
I tie my shoes. That's not part of who I am. It's not like, oh, I'm the never wear Velcro shoes. You can only tie your shoes. You need laces.
Do you have a religion? Do you have any political beliefs at all?
Yeah, I'd say they're probably mostly right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
But we don't need to get into my.
You identify as a centrist. So I mean, everybody's personality has a variety.
No, but I don't identify as a centrist. That's my point.
Most people, I would say 99% of the people fall into certain categories where they identify within a category. It's not that crazy of an idea.
Certain people feel more comfortable sorting themselves into categories because it gives them identity and purpose. Like, I mean, Mike, if you're a parent and your purpose is to be like the best dad you can be, like that's where my identity is.
Yeah, you have
not my diet or the type of shoes I wear or my political bend one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, someone could be like, this is a ridiculous thing, but an argument to say your identity as a dad can have negative, cons to it. Any identity has pros and cons. A vegan diet, carnivore diet, politics, right, left, center, everything. People are complicated and they have different identities. Like, I have a YouTube channel that's about veganism. I don't just like roll up to every conversation in real life and start talking about veganism. In fact, I don't bring it up as much as people think I would. It's part of who I am. It's what my YouTube channel is. That's my activism. That is that part of my identity, is to make videos about it. And it is part of me, just like being a maker is part of me, or being these various things are part of me. I don't really see as much of an issue. It's when you have an ideology that really is, if you're identify as a Nazi, then that's where you're really pushing it. I think identities, it's not black and white. In fact, I would say you have extreme views about identity. I'm just joking around, but yeah. So if you have any comments on that, go for it.
Well, Mike, I think unfortunately, you just missed our real good dive into identity.
Well, you can nutshell the main point for me.
Well, just that as soon as you identify, then your identity is subsumed as I am Mike the vegan. Like, I just want you to be Mike the funny, cool guy that doesn't have this overarching need to fit into veganism and serve the needs of veganism. But the thing is, because veganism is so persuasive to you because you believe the 3 big lies of veganism.
Which are?
Oh, you know them, Mike. Come on, don't be coy.
3 big lies of veganism: that you're helping animals, that you're helping the environment, and that you're helping your health, which I believe are not.
Dude, you got it.
Because of course those are the 3 big tenets of veganism. I just don't subscribe to the idea that having veganism as part of your identity is wrong. Like I view it like being an environmentalist. I'm not going to give up being an environmentalist. It's still the right thing to do for me. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I identify too much as an environmentalist. Like, I'm too granola. Everyone thinks I'm granola. It's easy. It would be easier for you if I was just Mike the funny guy, because then I wouldn't be challenging your habits and your beliefs. And so that's my view on that. So identity doesn't have to be bad. And yeah, I feel like you're coming at it from the view of people are so caught up in the vegan identity that when their health is failing, they just can't quit.
Yeah, exactly.
And clearly that's not the case. It
clearly is the case.
People quit. I mean, people quit when they have social pressure. They quit when they have health problems, whether or not they are caused by a vegan diet. They quit when somebody makes a comment about them, etc. People quit all the time.
So why are we seeing such consistent things in regards to the health, though, when people are leaving, especially like the long termers, like the 5 to 10 years? We're seeing such intense, I don't know, malnourishment in these people. Like, what do you have to say to like the vegan deterioration that we're seeing, the eyes sinking in the back of the head, the people's faces?
I would argue that is just like taking the worst case scenarios. I mean, if you want me to take pictures of people who are on an omnivorous diet and see like how nastily they're aging and how it's there's gonna be people in every group, and there's people like, for example, teeth. Like there are
Okay.
people who go on a vegan diet and they change a lot of things about what they do. They stop brushing their teeth with fluoride. They stop brushing their teeth. A lot of fruitarians stop brushing their teeth at all because they think the fiber in the fruit is going to brush their teeth. And that's going to lead to cavities. That's going to lead to caries, and that's going to lead to you needing a root canal. And that's not because they don't have animal protein or whatever. There's not some magical thing. So I am of the view, and maybe it's my crazy vegan identity, that in almost basically all of these cases, there's no like key missing nutrient that these people could not get on their diet that is leading to these health problems. And
that we currently
you
know
make a case
of.
for why there is, then I will be very impressed.
Well, like I think you may have even said in that video, or at least one of your most recent videos, talking about how most of these vegans that I've left are either like under eating or don't have the fully balanced nutritional understanding of everything that they should have, and
or they get dogmatic and they don't brush their teeth. They think they're all of a sudden invincible, which is something I try to not preach as well. Because that's actually a lot of this comes from an idea that you will become invincible on a vegan diet. And having 80% lower risk of diabetes doesn't mean you're invincible to diabetes. You can still get it.
True.
It's better off.
But I just want to interject, like I myself am somebody who has a pretty good grasp of nutrition, who did chronometer out like their last year and a half of the vegan diet. It was creeping up a little more in fats, let's say 20 to 30%, not super low fat. I was doing a 1-to-1 omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. I was taking in plenty of B12. I essentially had the perfectly designed vegan diet that nobody has yet to come forth, because I posted it on my YouTube. Not one person has ever looked at that diet and said, hey, you were doing this glaringly wrong. Everybody's like, damn, or they just don't comment at all. And I know of other people like myself who had a similar experience on the way out, where like we did try damn near everything. I would consider Tim Sheaf one of those people too, and he's taken a lot of crap online as well.
He definitely tried everything. Yeah.
He tried everything.
Okay, so
what's
I
up
would
with
say, and this is where we both get a little too crazy about our diets, where I do think, and this may not be, I don't know your whole story, I do think there's a case for extra dietary health problems where there are things that are happening because of things that you did that are not diet. One example in my video, pumping water up your ass is not part of your diet. That's what I believed caused SIBO in the case of Ravana. Doing everything right, all of a sudden pumping a large amount of colonic bacteria in, which then, will bloom when you're eating more of these carbohydrates. That's not because she was eating carbohydrates, not because she was eating these whole plant foods. And so I'm also going to be talking to somebody like Angie Sadeghi, who's a.
I have a theory on the SIBO, by the way. I just want to share with you.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so you're saying it's potentially enema. Well, I think one possibility, potentially enema. I think it's most likely the fact that vegans are overeating on an abundance of fiber. And I mean, as a vegan that your poops are quite large and abundant. And I know that's the case it was for myself and every other vegan I've ever met. And that's why they freak out when we, as like carnivore or keto people, are like, yeah, we poop like every 2-3 days. They're like, oh my God, because they're imagining their belly button splitting open at the center, because they know if they went that long, they would die. But anyway, the amount of fiber that comes out, it's backed up in the colon. Let's just be realistic.
I would definitely not say it's backed up in the colon. I mean, I can't say that it's backed up in the colon if you are pooping as much as you say you're pooping. I mean, I didn't change when I went vegan. I still poop like once or twice a day. I guess I always ate a little bit more plants and a little bit more fiber. I'm not doing anything like crazy. I'm not like running to the bathroom 5 or 6 times a day. Like some people who may have had a pre-existing gut condition, or they're deciding to eat too much fructose, which their body will probably reject. And so there's reasons like that. I just don't. I mean, you look at like paleo. You look at fossilized shit, and that's where they determine that we were eating about 100 grams of fiber per day, which is right where vegans are, or like 70 to 100 is. I don't see any problem. There's no limitation on our gut flora.
I don't think there's a lot of fossilized shit from people that were eating a carnivore diet. And Mike, the big problem I have with veganism is that the more we dig into finding that the 3 big lies of veganism are just that, lies, is that vegans can't just say, oh yeah, that's true. You have to dig in and be evasive and absolutely avoid, facing the truth about veganism. Like it could be Drew or hundreds or thousands of other people. Like I had, just as a 1-person case study, this beautiful young guy, he's like bodybuilder, who's going to be like the next big YouTube sensation, went vegan for like a year, stopped gaining muscle, destroyed his health, and went unvegan, and then ghosted YouTube for a year because he was concerned of all the vegan hate he was going to get. So the response of the vegan community to every ex-vegan is always, oh, they weren't really doing it for the right reasons. They were just plant-based. They did the vegan diet wrong. They must have been fruitarian with SIBO colonics. And it can never just be like, oh, you know what? For that individual's health, a whole foods, plant-based, or a vegan diet just absolutely wasn't going to work. And if you would just be honest and say that, say, hey, we are environmentalists. We want to do the best thing for the humane treatment of animals. We want our health to, survive. Like, we don't, like, I'm not trying to get sick from veganism. Veganism, for most people, for the first 10 years is better than the standard American diet. So if we could just be honest about what the vegan diet does, then we could have a real conversation.
All right,
but
okay.
And as soon as you want to like bring in speciesism, which is the stupidest fucking idea ever, it could only be proposed by an actor named Joaquin, then it's just absolutely nuts. Like, can you not see the value of each individual human life, each ex-vegan is worth at least the value of 200 cows or 73,000 chickens? Human life is so much more valuable to the humans that love them. And I don't care if you, Mike, for perfect health for the next 100 years, have to eat 2 cows a year. If 5 years from now, your health is so deteriorated that the only thing that's going to work for you is a radical transition where Drew coaches you into the carnivore diet and you're now eating 2 cows a year. So if you could just be honest, hey, I like the vegan diet because personally, I don't like eating meat. And if it causes my health to fail a little bit, then I will do my best to stay on a meat-free diet or eat a diet that causes what I believe is the least amount of harm to animals. And then when we talk about, well, like Drew was saying earlier in this conversation, you missed it, but if I eat 2 cows a year, but your plant-based diet kills 3 gophers a year, who's a monster? And you said this in your last video. You said don't call me a speciesist, but I think cows are more valuable than mice. Like, as soon as you can differentiate between species, as soon as a cow is more valuable than a mosquito, all veganism just falls apart in a pile of illogic.
Okay, can I respond now?
Oh,
so, looking at what you view as the 3 lies of veganism, I do not believe you've made a strong case for them, and that's just all there's to it. I started off going on a vegan diet not because I cared about animals. I didn't give a shit about animals. I went vegan because of the health, of the epidemiology, of the studies, and a large body of that is not looking at the perfect vegan diet versus the standard American diet. That's the Adventists who were on the best omnivorous diet that we have, almost essentially, judging by the data, versus a religious-based vegan diet, which means that they were the ones that invented mock meat.
Mike, that's false right there on its face. The
that's
Adventists that are the least serious about their religion, that are the most likely to smoke cigarettes and fuck off, are the ones that are not dogmatically, religiously following their vegan diet.
They adjust for those things. They adjust for smoking. They adjust for
and what you find is that the people that are not vegan but vegetarian seem to do a little better than the least serious people, and they never adjust for all of the confounding variables. They don't do it. So we've all
that's one of many cohorts that has better health, and that's not looking at your standard American diet.
So, Mike, if you can see right there that the vegetarian group in the Adventist health studies has better health than the vegan diet, and you're going vegan for health, why haven't you switched to vegetarian? That is just the truth.
They have lower mortality rates than the vegetarians.
The vegetarians do better than the vegans in the Adventist health studies. So have some eggs.
They don't. Where are you getting that? They are higher on the BMI. They have higher rates of female reproductive cancer. They have higher rates. They have higher rates of heart disease. They have higher rates of diabetes. I don't know what you're saying.
Should we go read the Adventist health studies and both make videos responding to each other infinitely?
No, but we should also just take what you're saying and just misrepresenting
the vegetarians do the best.
They don't.
Yes, they do. Well, we don't need to debate it here. Because
the vegans do better in virtually every category than the vegetarians. It's
no, they don't, Mike. And it's demonstrably false that a vegan diet is the healthiest when we just see all the ex-vegans that are falling apart. And then you always have a reason why those vegans aren't as healthy. So if you really wanted to do it for your health, you could consume a health-conscious omnivorous diet and have the best health. And Mike, it's so obvious for your particular case because you've published your blood work and you have rock bottom, almost deficient HDL. I mean, if the standards for the American for the blood test were real, everyone should have to have above 60 HDL or they should be flagged as your diet and lifestyle suck. And yours was 41 milligrams per deciliter.
All right, I'll get to that in a second. I just want to just for the record say that the vegan versus vegetarian Adventist, we're looking at 25% of the normal hypertension rates in vegans, 45% in vegetarians. Diabetes, 22%
So
total
what
risk,
is the mortality?
40% total risk for vegetarians.
Like, what is the mortality? Oh, my blood pressure is a little bit higher as a vegetarian, but I lived longer than the vegans. Okay, who cares? Like, you can nitpick any little factor that we say contributes to health, or you can just look at who lives the longest. So, baloney, homie. Now, Mike, for you trying to be healthy, you said, I don't give a shit about the animals. I'm doing it for my health.
That's where I was starting,
right.
dude. You're
Mike,
totally
I'm doing it, Mike. You're doing it for your health, baby. And if that was true, you wouldn't be on a vegan diet. Because
I'm saying that's where I came from. I didn't come
Mike,
from an ethical bias to go to veganism. I came from jiving through the data, very resistant to do it, looking at all of these studies. Like
Mike,
why I didn't stop at vegetarianism was because I looked at the Adventist health study and went, fuck that, I don't want 10% increased risk of this type of or hypothyroidism or whatever like that.
Yeah, Mike, that 10% increased risk you also know is baloney, homie, because it is an increase in the risk and not the rate. So if 1 out of 1,000 people get X, Y, or Z, hypothyroidism, whatever, and 1.1 out of 1,000 people
The relative
get
risk.
hypothyroidism, then you're talking about a 10% increase in the risk. Well, if I know that my chances are 1 out of 1,000 or 1.1 out of 1,000, I'm going to make different choices than if I think, oh, it's 10% higher. Like
Right,
that's
now,
how the vegans duped you,
so
Mike.
we're looking at the most important thing here is heart disease. That's what you're probably going to die of. Statistically, what everybody's probably going to die of.
The most important thing to die of is death, Mike. The only thing that matters is death. Yes, heart disease is the number one killer, but it's not the most likely thing to kill you.
All-cause mortality is going to be the end game, right?
Yeah, and going on a low-carb, high-meat diet increases your all-cause mortality by 30%. I don't know. But going back to that, the only diet on Earth that has been shown to clinically reverse our leading killer is a whole food plant-based diet.
Now you're changing the subject, and if you look at the
exactly
if you look at the Epstein study, if you actually, and this is what I love doing, is if you take where the vegans want to send you and you actually go to the link, read it, and think for yourself instead of just, regurgitating the talking points, you look at that, homie, Esselstyn cut out everything from that diet. You take any standard American diet and you cut out all of the inflammatory oils, guess what? Your heart disease risk gets better. You want to reverse CAD? I did a whole article about this. There are so many things that you could change from the Esselstyn diet and make it even healthier and even better. And if you look at the Esselstyn diet, people are still, I think one woman just dropped dead of pneumonia, probably because she's so emaciated from following the vegan diet. And also, very few people stuck with it. They got sick on the vegan diet, said curing my CAD is not, my cardio artery disease. What am I saying here? Curing my heart disease is not worth dropping dead as a weak and emaciated anemic vegan. So I'm going to go off the diet. The longest person in the study only lasted 72 months. I'm not going to pay off my truck in 72 months. And this woman has quit. Everyone in the study quit veganism in 72 months. And Mike, back to your health. So I can save you, Mike. So I can put you on the Heart of a Champion program and make it happen. Your triglycerides are 1 iota from being out of range, and the range is way too high.
No, they're not. Have you seen my triglycerides, dude? I just
watched the whole video, baby. I love your content, man. I've seen it all.
So, what do you think my triglyceride levels is?
Oh, what are they, like 120?
I'm
guessing they're over 100 and close to 149, and your HDL is 41.
Totally wrong.
No, that's from your video. Don't go for more vegan lies.
My triglycerides are 80.
As of when?
That exact study from that exact test from my video. I could drag this in right now. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I can't. It's not.
Can we drag it?
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, you quit.
The vegan internet.
I just dragged it into the instead of putting it in the. I was trying to drag it in like Skype. You can just drag it in.
Put it in the Hangouts chat, and I can pull it up on the other monitor.
Got monitors on monitors on monitors.
We got everything. We got the whole.
Drag it into the little message box, and it didn't fucking do it. Okay, I'm just gonna email. Okay. I'm just gonna drag in an email to you, and you can see.
Okay, that works.
Mike, baby, to the best of my recollection, you had and if we see the paper here, it'll be 41 HDL.
Which the reason that we need higher HDL is to deal with our LDL, and my LDL is at the level in studies where we do not see progression of atherosclerosis. I'm not.
The reason
you see my videos, you've seen that.
The reason we want to have higher HDL is because it is a sign that your diet, lifestyle, and environment are working for you.
Because it's a sign that you can clear out a high LDL that most people have on the State American diet.
LDL is not the problem. The problem is your triglycerides.
Explain to me why LDL is not a problem. Explain to me why LDL is not an issue.
Because it doesn't cause heart disease. What causes
How does it
heart
not
disease?
cause heart
What
disease?
causes
It's
heart
not
disease?
oxidized?
Maybe, Mike. What causes heart disease is a poor diet, lifestyle, environment. Maybe a vegan diet. And what happens is you have VLDL, very low density lipoprotein. And how do you calculate VLDL? Is you take your triglycerides and you divide by, I believe it's 7. It might be 7 or it's 18. It's one of these numbers in here. So by a matter of you having higher triglycerides, it means that you have higher VLDL, which is actually dangerous.
Which I also don't. I mean, LDL over and over again. It's, I also sent a second chart there. We see the LDL and atherosclerosis progression right there. LDL
Mike,
oxidizes.
if we go to the papers that you want to recommend and we read the papers and we reorganize the data to make charts that actually make sense so that we can see the data, what it really says, is you find out that LDL is next to meaningless, and the real factor for heart disease is your triglycerides divided by your HDL. The TG to HDL ratio is what actually predicts heart disease the best. Everyone watching right now, please type into Google TG HDL ratio, PubMed, and you will find study after study after study after study that shows that it is a far better predictor of heart disease than LDL has ever been. If you go look at the scatter plot for LDL, it's like you're looking at a shotgun blast. You have no idea, and it's not until you you do the regression and you can see, oh, there's maybe the most mild association between LDL and heart disease. But you do the same.
Second chart that I sent, because that's, we're talking about atherosclerosis. You honestly believe that I'm going to get heart disease eating?
No, I honestly believe you're going to quit veganism. That's what I honestly believe. Because Mike, you're too smart and too beautiful and too worth it.
Agreed.
And too happy and fun.
But I disagree.
Okay, well, you were very non-committal at the start of this conversation. I think I'm going to make it.
No.
I'm going to get there.
Okay, for the record, do not interpret my saying that the people who went on a vegan diet and quit thought that they weren't going to quit.
Oh, Mike, is this the chart?
I'm just talking about the attitudes that everybody has toward what they are currently doing. That is absolutely not a reflection of my current situation.
Can you guys see what we need to, or should I hide some of these?
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to dig this up right now.
Yeah, you don't have to, but explain why this chart doesn't matter. Explain why where I am.
Mike, I'll show you right now why this chart is the biggest lying piece of shit you've ever seen.
Okay.
So I've gone through this study intensively, fine-tooth comb. Can you guys, Drew, can you bring it back up?
How
does it go up there? There, it's up there.
Yeah, it's up there.
Whatever we're doing now, it's up there.
When you talk, it's going to go away because it's on your screen.
Wait. What?
Just
no, it's
blah,
not.
Blah, blah.
That's you guys. The audience can see it. Or do you need to see it?
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I would like to see it. Okay. But I've seen it before, so maybe I don't even need to see it. Now it's up there.
You can see it in the little corner. You can get an idea. So the bottom two
I know what it says. I'm just going to tell you what it says. And who has this actually up on their screen? Is that you, Drew?
Yeah. I have. Yes, I have.
So, Drew, under the very far left bar, what is the number? The number is 2, isn't it?
50 to 60, right where I am.
It's N equals 2.
50 to 60, N equals 2, yes.
Exactly.
Correct.
So with one, and I have this chart, I'll put it up in another video. If you take all of their data and resort it, you realize that almost nobody on there has that low LDL. This LDL that's supposed to make you heart attack proof, nobody has it. Nobody.
Because they all eat a standard American diet because they
eat because it's unhealthy, Mike. And when you actually go back and look at it, you have these little outliers that are the sick people at the very end, and then you have people that are that have dyslipidemia at the very high end that are dysregulated, and then you have the sweet spot that we see in study after study. That is probably, it's like LDL of 80 to 120 is the sweet spot where the people have the best health and there are the most people. So it's people at both tails are kind of fucked because you're unhealthy if your LDL is that low, you're sickly, and then there's healthy people, and then at the very high end there are again unhealthy people. But they chose this graph where you don't. N equals 2, N equals 9.
So these people, these 11 people between 50 and 70 that had none or virtually no atherosclerosis. The reason they had no buildup in arteries was just because they were so sick. They were so sick that they just didn't have artery buildup. It was just
Mike. There's no doubt if you suppress your LDL low enough, you can die of something besides heart disease. That's absolutely.
If you're dying of cancer, your LDL also drops, and that is a misassociation that people have.
Oh, that's true. Mike, honestly, that's true. You can get different associations like that, 100%. You're totally right. The sweet spot for LDL is probably 80 to 120. We can pull up the other studies. I was getting in this with Richard, Vegan Gains, identity totally subsumed by the vegan movement. Not Richard Burgess anymore, just Vegan Gains. And I remade this whole chart where you could actually see what's happening with the data. And then we went back and looked at other studies and other studies and other studies. And it is always the sweet spot for LDL for the lowest all-cause mortality is like 80 to 120.
Well, from this chart, 80 to 120 puts you at pretty much as much artery clogging as, 130 to 150.
If we look at the chart again, when the chart and it's just too bad that I don't have the chart anymore. It might be in an old video. Maybe I can find it. I just don't think I'm going to find it right now. So when you reorganize the data,
so anyway, we can move on. We can agree or disagree there. You can send me information on that, why it's totally wrong and why you remixing the data proves me wrong. But for now, let's talk about what do you think is this magic nutrient that these vegans are missing that they will ultimately all have to fail? I'm just curious to see, because you in your video you very much painted the picture that vegans aren't even getting essential amino acids, which I thought was definitely very inaccurate. Anyone can just look at Chronometer. I mean, even I typed in the wheat where you said was missing all essential amino acids, and it reached for an adult male 100% of those essential amino acids. So what is the nutrient, and why do you think vegans are deficient?
I think it's unfair that vegans say that. By the way, I want to interject here is that they say that nobody's saying that plants don't have all the essential amino acids, but they do have very, very small amounts of the amino acids in some cases, especially things like leucine. Like, yes, it has them, but they're very tiny.
Even bone broth has very low amino acids too, and not every single.
Yeah, but prime rib has very high amino acids.
What?
You're a big Mike. You are a big bag of steaks, baby. That's what you are. And when you try to fuel this big bag of steaks with plants, you have a hard time unless you have a 4-chambered stomach. You're not a ruminant, and you also don't have great hindgut fermentation. And this
so when I eat legumes, the protein just doesn't work. It just doesn't work in my body. That's why I'm 20 pounds heavier now than I was eating meat.
Nearly bioavailable, Mike. It's not. Let's just be honest. It's not nearly as bioavailable. You don't absorb near the amount, and the amino acid profile compared to just eating meat, which is what you're made of, sucks. Now, if you had a 4-chambered stomach or a giant cecum, which is part of the colon, I said colon, I meant cecum. You got me.
I have that in my notes, by the way. I have that in my notes to ask you about that because you said the same
later in the comments, somebody was actually saying, and I said, the more I think about it, I think he was referring to our appendix.
Yes.
But still, it's funny. But okay, so guys, I don't understand why you need to have a hindgut fermentation to eat starch, to eat legumes, to eat these nuts and seeds. You get all that protein. And anybody who's trying to absorb more protein than you need, bodybuilders are smashing down these protein powders.
And then they have higher blood albumin because they don't have complete protein.
I'm talking about meat eaters.
Mike, check this out. You have a baseball team, right? You need 9 players. You got 9 people sitting on the field. The other team's ready to play. You've got 9 people too, but you don't have a catcher. You've got 2 first basemen. That is the situation with vegan protein. Is you don't have all the positions filled.
Amino acids. I don't know why you think you need an exorbitant amount of these amino acids, and if you do, bodybuilders there's higher levels in certain amino acids of plant protein.
Mike, if you would like to raise your HDL to get healthy, to lower your heart attack risk, if you would like to drop your triglycerides, then start my Heart of a Champion program. You can be on a whole foods plant-based diet with a at least 50% of your calories from whole plant foods. All the sweet potatoes, I'll buy them. You can have them. And then get 25 to 30% of your calories from animal sources, from animal protein. You just eat chicken breast. Mike, chicken.
Do you honestly think that diet can unclog arteries? Do you think if you put that up against Esselson's diet?
100%. Look at Esselson's diet. He took everything out. If you take everything out and you have people, what are they? They're basically eating nothing. That's why they all quit the diet. If I have you basically eat fucking nothing for 6 years, it might unclog your coronary artery, but you're going to quit the diet and go back to eating food.
You can go to another vegan diet. You can go if you want. You can go to the most extreme. You're about to diet and go to a more relaxed one.
All the vegans that you do all these videos about, they're all quitting veganism and they've all tried. Look, Drew is right here on the call with you. Drew tried everything. Drew tried the juice.
By the way, I ate protein powder.
So you got heart disease and protein deficiency? That's what you got. That's why you quit through, because you got heart disease and protein deficiency.
I did not, but by the way, I want to say something about the amino acids because you said that all these meat eaters are still taking protein powders or whatever, but specifically, vegan protein powders include leucine and in very high quantities, way higher than you'd ever be able to get in the diet naturally. So that is an amino acid.
Because that boosts IGF-1, which fuels every stage of cancer. That's one of the reasons vegans have lower cancer.
And that is one of the
14 hours of daily fasting.
I'm trying to explain to you because a lot of the vegans are like, well, they point to John Venus or your buddy Brian Turner, and they say, well, these vegans are jacked and they're doing it just like all the meat eaters. Yeah, but they're taking the supplement that you would never be able to get from a vegan diet.
No, there's people who do. Like, look at Derek Treesize. I think he's a fine thing. No, Robert Cheek doesn't take these plant-based proteins.
They don't take any protein
in my opinion, a decent enough size. They're not pushing their bodies.
I agree with you. They're decent size. I don't believe that they're not taking any supplements.
And also, Mike,
That's
they don't take isolated proteins.
Mike, you're almost always talking about steroid users, obvious steroid users. Who's the guy? Nimai?
Nimai got 100% steroids.
Misha in my video, the one who got the doping test, you think he's lying? You think that he took steroids?
Who's this guy? I've never heard of this person.
I don't know about this.
Misha Yaniech. He was in the video that I responded to. He's huge.
No, I know. I recognize the name that you say.
And he took the 10,000 euro doping test and passed it. I mean, I don't see the problem.
Can we Google this guy? Anyway, guys, how do I drop something in the chat here?
You have to email it to him. If it's Skype.
No, you can open the little chat box in the Google Hangouts.
I got your email open. We're all good.
All right, throw that in there. By the way, we have a super chat here. Mike the vegan, can you eat a vegan diet without any supplements with only fresh local plants and be at your best potential?
Can you eat a vegan diet with no supplements? If you want to be, in my opinion, if you want to be going all the way back to consuming, being not in a sanitary situation and getting B12 that way, or there's certain situations where you can get. I just don't advise it.
By the way, also BBC World posted a video today showing chimpanzees. I would show it on my channel, but I honestly would be scared to get demonetized. That's how savage this is. It's a 5-minute clip. BBC Earth. Everybody go look this up. Chimpanzees hunting down smaller monkeys, and the way that they do it, exactly how they do it. And they shred this smaller monkey to bits. They rip it apart. They bring the pieces down for the women and the children to eat. And they're literally holding the skull and sticking their fingers into the skull and just scooping it out and eating it. And it's funny how people think that as early humans, we weren't doing the same thing.
They also cannibalize. They also regularly cannibalize. They're much more violent and eat more other animals than bonobos, for example, who, in my opinion, are better species to think that we're related to. They're
because we have slightly closer DNA.
I'd say all the time, reasonable. Just hanging out eating plants. I'd much rather do that than have warring tribes of cannibalism eating out of a skull. That's my view.
Well, like you said earlier, that if you were a fruitarian similar to the bonobos, right? If you were consuming your natural fruitarian diet, I'm putting that in quotes because I don't believe that's true, and you didn't brush your teeth, you would lose your teeth probably within a few months. Maybe 1 year. I
believe that we are post-frugivore, stargivores. So I believe that, for example, the reason we became very good runners, and Chris mentioned the persistent hunting thing, I don't think you can watch my whole video, my starts video. I go into the numbers on this and all the details. Of why I believe that starch is what made us build a brain, breaks right up into glucose. 25% of our brain, runs off glucose. There's a reason that lions aren't the most intelligent. You think there's a reason that lions aren't more intelligent than they are. And there's a reason, we could talk about intelligence later, but one of the reasons I believe that we gained some of these abilities running and stuff like that, just because I didn't get to fit that in the video, I wanted to mention it, is, you have a tribe and there's treasure troves of hundreds of thousands of calories in the roots, in the starchy organs of plants that are miles and miles apart. If you can run to them on a daily basis, you can get millions of calories that no other animal on the planet has access to.
Why would you need to run to get millions of calories on a daily? It doesn't make any sense. You're doing mental gymnastics here. Here's what happened. You know why lions aren't the apex predator species on the planet and you are? It's because you started swinging in trees just like the chimpanzees are doing now. That shoulder that's good for swinging in trees is also good for throwing shit. We got climate change. Some of the chimps chose to stay in the old world of trees, and some of the chimps were like, hey, let's go check out these arid grasslands.
Why didn't they become? So baboons live in the grasslands too, on the borders of trees like humans. Why did they become more intelligent?
Well, because they went into more carnivorous. How many human species died along the way? You think we're running between potato farms? It's silly. You became a persistence hunter. Your adaptation is so that you can chase furry ruminants to death. You have the throwing shoulder, and that's what happened. And then you also lived right at the beach, so you could have surf and turf every day, baby. You're an aquatic ape that gets to run out on the grasslands. And why you would
really have different perspectives on this issue? What is this chart you're showing?
Yeah, but yours is based on beliefs, and mine's based on evidence. And here's the
chart. I don't doubt that we can do that. I believe that is an after effect of us running long distances, like these horses that can run miles, like gazelles that run a very long distance, and that can outrun in a lot of ways, in a different way,
Yes, Mike, because
on our planet.
the slowest gazelle gets eaten, and the slowest lion goes hungry. Like, that's survival of the fittest. It's not, oh well, we're gonna get knapsacks and run between potato farms. Like,
Can you show me this chart? Can you just talk for like 10 seconds? Just say
yes,
anything.
I will. So Maja Larson, another question for Mike. You're the star guest today, Mike. Even over my boy Chris Kruger here. Mike, how to get B12 from dirt?
How to get B12 from dirt? It's not just dirt. It's everything. It's the fact that we didn't shower every day and we just had, I hate to say it, trace amounts of poop. We drank untreated water. All of these things have some B12, and then there's also a notion which I don't like to say this is something you should rely on, but we have studies of people in India who are actually synthesizing B12 in their small intestine where it can be absorbed. I would never tell somebody to rely on that. As an insurance policy, they should be obviously doing what they're doing now, just relying on fortified foods and shit like that.
Mike, in your defense, I think your stance on B12 is totally rational. I personally don't even think it's interesting. Like, yes, you can get all the B12 you need, and yes, you can survive on a vegan diet for an extended period of time, maybe a decade and a half, before experiencing like extreme health consequences. Well,
let's let Mike read this chart, yeah?
What did you say?
Go ahead I said, let's let you give you a moment to read this chart and absorb this chart. I actually don't know what I'm looking at either. So what are we looking at, Chris?
It doesn't even have a y-axis. Doesn't even say what is it?
What the y-axis is.
Is that cardiovascular?
This is the exact same chart that Mike just showed us, the one where it had two people over on one end. So I've resorted to show you how many healthy people there were in each level of LDL. So that's the number of people. That's the y-axis. So Mike, and there's a little number that tells you exactly how many, so you don't have to trace it over to the y-axis. So at each level of LDL in the study that you want to talk about, that you believe shows that LDL is such a villain, it turns out there are more healthy people with cholesterol numbers in the middle, like I said.
How are you determining that they're healthy? These are people that are represented.
These are people with no signs of atherosclerosis, no lesions at all.
Yeah,
so look at your chart, the numbers match exactly.
We'll probably get it at that rate, and this represents a cross section of the U.S. and there's about 5.
I think it's actually Spanish data, Mike. If you read the study, I think it's Spanish data. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm an asshole.
The point is, Western diets, people eating Western diets. If you get a cross section of them, you'll see some people eating a plant-based diet who are down there with no progression, and there's going to be people with no progression at the time that they're looked at. People who have luckily good genetics, high level of estrogen, whatever, which will delay that progression. But virtually every child in the U.S. at the age of 3 has fatty streaks on their aorta. These people are going to probably die of heart disease.
Drew, do you need to talk again so I can see it? Oh, I can bring it up. I have it right here.
What do you mean? What's going on that it's not letting you see it? Oh, no, because I got
it's on your screen when you talk. I mean, I've seen it. I already know. I understand it.
Okay. So for the data that the researchers actually did a con job on all of us, trying to show that, it just keeps going up and up and up from left to right. And the reality is, and this matches with other studies that we can go look at, is people from 80 to 120, maybe, 130, that's the most average cholesterol. There's the most number of healthy people. And yes, eventually some people, their cholesterol will creep higher or they'll develop atherosclerosis. Absolutely. But from the data, these are the most healthy people. And there are as many people that are healthy with LDL cholesterol at 110 to 120.
And this is exactly what you'd expect from a Western population. But the reality is that almost no people in that 50 to 70 range had progression of atherosclerosis. We're at 0% for people.
If you look at the data, 2 people in that 60 to 70 range are developing atherosclerosis. So vegans are always telling us that under 70, you're heart attack free.
Very, very negligible
2 out of 11, Mike. I'm compromising my health. I've got low LDL. I can't possibly build muscle mass to save my life. I'm going to be.
Then how did I put on 15? Not that I'm saying I'm a normal guy. I'm not a bodybuilder. How did I put on 15 pounds at the LDL of what is it, like 40 or 50?
Well,
how did I do that? How is it even possible?
Well, your LDL maybe went up a little bit.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
Oh, Mike, you're obviously very strong in a physical specimen. Mike, we're supposed to be heart attack proof, according to vegans, if we get our LDL under 70. 2 people in this study out of 11 are developing atherosclerosis and having lesions at that level. So
smallest possible amount.
all a vegan can ever say,
it's
hold
unclear
on,
whether
Mike.
they are fully vegan or whether they always had that level. There's still possible things.
Yes, there's always a magical escape door. 60 to 70, we've got heart disease developing. Otherwise, and these are all otherwise healthy subjects. This is actually really a blast from the past. I haven't even looked at this stuff in like 4 or 5 months. But it's a lot of fun, Mike, and I really think.
But we know the diet that I'm talking about. With this is one piece of evidence supporting it. We know clinical trials reversing heart disease, unclogging arteries, basically wiping it off the map.
If you take away everything and make a diet so miserable that everyone's going to quit it within 6 years, you can absolutely reverse.
That's why his adherence was 90% higher than basically
it
any
was
other trial.
not, Mike. Go look.
Guys,
at it.
I have a question for both of you.
That's because everyone they quit in the first 3 months, he just called the control group.
No,
the study is a farce. If you read it, it is a farce. He takes away all the food in the diet, and the people that quit, he calls the control group. They're not the control group. They're the people that were like, I can't even eat this diet. There's no food in it.
No, that was
guys,
falling into
please.
the minutia of wanting to just talk about heart disease because it's where you think you have the strongest case.
No,
the real question is all-cause mortality. And all-cause mortality is
mortality lower.
All-cause mortality is that people are always cycling off the vegan diet. If you quit veganism and go back to health, return to sanity, like every vegan does, it's just a matter of how long, then you reclaim your health. No one dies of veganism because everyone's going to start eating meat before they die of veganism. It's an option. So it's some way to be sanctimonious and smug in your 20s and 30s until your health falls apart. And then you either end up an old crazy person eating fruit on an island, or...
Let me ask you this. Are you more passionate about stopping people from eating a standard American diet or stopping people from being vegan?
Mike, what I am passionate about is exposing people to feasting, and fasting so that they can experience true health and fitness. And I would love for you, Mike, to be able to raise your HDL up above 60 and lower your triglycerides down below 60 so that you can have great health.
Raise my but my triglycerides from what down to what?
Below 60.
Below 60.
If you want true health, Mike, your TG HDL ratio, and this is my challenge for you on your vegan diet. Find a way to do it. Is try to get your triglycerides lower than 60 and your HDL above 60 all weight. Because I'll tell you what, not even John Venus can do that. No matter how juicy he gets, no matter how strict his diet is, John Venus can't even do it. I had a 45-year-old guy do my program eating tons of Kerrygold grass-fed butter and red meat, and his TG HDL ratio in 20 weeks went to rock bottom, way lower than John Venus's. And much better than yours.
His LDL level,
you know what?
Doesn't matter.
John Venus's TG HDL ratio is about the same as Donald Trump's. So you got a guy flying around on Air Force One, eating Kentucky Fried Chicken, and his TG HDL ratio is better than John Venus, and way better. By the way,
vegan zombies is 2.6, and Durian Riders is mid 2s as well.
Yeah, which is horrible.
Correct. I have a question for you guys. So why? Okay, I get this question a lot from vegans. This is the one and only diet that is proven to reverse heart disease. Why do they assume that heart disease cannot be reversed or at least maintained at a very low risk rate on a properly designed animal food-based diet? Like, why is
animal food-based diet?
Correct. Like, let's say we're saying 90% carnivore.
I mean,
90% carnivore, 10%
there's
plants.
a study that was, it was coronary blood flow and high fat diets. That was the one where people went off onto a bunch of people decided, no, I'm going to do an Atkins diet, and they came back and followed them. That's high meat, low, no sugar, etc., and their artery clogging increased. I don't understand. There's never been a demonstration of anybody that I've seen even stopping the progression of heart disease on any diet.
But we have in real life right now, we have Dr. Eric Berg, huge YouTube celebrity, 5 years keto, and we have Sean Baker, huge YouTube celebrity, 2+ years carnivore. Both of them have recently taken the CAC coronary artery calcium scan, which is at the recommendation of Joel Kahn, the vegan god, and they both passed with a score of 0. No, they're both eating the most meat possible with 0.
They can still have inflammation. They can still have all these things that have.
But all their other risk factors are very low. We talked about this with Sean Baker.
Total stenosis, total blockage, just not necessarily just.
I want to interject on your behalf, dude. Drew, with the CAC study, it is a little bit bogus because you can still have inflamed yet uncalcified plaques.
Yes,
So,
but it's also based on the other risk factors. Like there is other risk factors that if you check out on those, the risk for the soft plaque arteries is very, very low at that point.
Yeah.
Like Sean
Yeah,
Baker
because
checked out on all
Sean
those.
Baker's LDL is beautiful. Yeah, it's so high that it's actually
again,
it doesn't even matter. Actually, off
LDL
the charts, so
almost
it
a
doesn't even count.
non-factor. LDL total baloney. Everyone in the audience right now, to get off the vegan bandwagon, just Google TG HDL ratio PubMed and find out what the real factor that predicts heart disease is. And to Mike's point, his question.
I have to make another video now.
Of course you do, baby. This is fun.
Let me interject real quick. I got a donation here that's already soured. They said, so I guess every group of humans on every continent, primitive or advanced, for thousands of years, who survived and thrived, have just been doing it wrong. Basically, this person is saying.
Let's look at the Inuits. Their mummies before Western diet ever happened had the highest rates of atherosclerosis.
I've heard that.
Mike,
what is that?
They found 5 mummies.
Yeah, and and
like 2 of them had atherosclerosis.
I don't care. You just mentioned 2 people. You just mentioned Sean Baker.
2 people was my point about. Oh, those 2 people. I'm talking about the 2 people in the Spanish study where. Oh, that's what proves that 60 to 70.
I'm talking about Sean Baker.
I know what you're talking about now. I know, Mike.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
Look, all we have to do, Mike. What would make this so simple is if you said health is the most important thing, or that I'm willing to compromise my health because I think I can save animals.
I just don't see a strong case for compromise. I don't see like
for
some
all
influence
3 tenets of veganism. Can we just be
all
honest?
epidemiology.
I'm sorry, we were talking over each other. Mike, you have the floor.
I was saying I just don't see some influence or anecdotes offsetting all the epidemiology and so forth. I do not believe there's a strong case, and I want you to explain away. I want you to explain away the 60% atherosclerosis in people that have never eaten sugar, people that are living off animal fat, the stuff that you're telling them to eat so that they can live longer. Explain to me what was happening.
Which people are these?
In the
mummy Inuits.
The Inuit mummies. I'm going to tell you, Mike. I don't know. I'm not a true believer. I don't need to know why Inuit mummies from thousands of years ago who are eating possibly whale blubber or whatever. Why 2 out of 5 of them? What I'm concerned about now is getting for everyone that's like living right now. Let's just say what gets the best TG HDL ratio. It's obviously not your diet, as seen in your blood work. And you talk about Esselstyn and his study and it reverses CAD. If you want to see, the beautiful thing about Esselstyn is he's got that one picture. Here's a shitty looking coronary artery and here's a beautiful coronary artery. But if you can just put, your imagination to work and see that everybody that does my program or a program like mine or switches Drew's, does the dietary changes that Drew has done, everybody that is lowering their triglycerides and raising their HDL is getting that same reversal. The number one predictor of heart disease is the TG HDL ratio. And just because we don't have beautiful pictures of everybody's heart doesn't mean that it's not happening all over the world at this very instant. As soon as you start...
Sorry, keep going.
As soon as you start real training and proper nutrition, as soon as you switch off the standard American diet for Dr. Esselstyn's diet or my diet or Drew's diet, as soon as you start beasting, feasting, and fasting, as soon as you put daily practices of health into your life, you are reversing coronary artery disease. And that's just the truth. Now, is it lazy of omnivores to have not gotten a beautiful picture of this and published it? Of course. But I think the non-radical vegan doctors at the Cleveland Clinic are probably doing other things besides trying to prove that a meat-eating diet can reverse heart disease with beautiful pictures. They're doing other things. So there is a growing primal health movement where, because of radical vegans pushing their agenda and lying in film after film, documentary after documentary, is now the people that are like, wait, you guys are being a little wacky here. We'll have to go and take these photos. But anything that lowers your triglycerides and raises your HDL is going to be beautiful for your heart. Because
you got to talk about the TG. Okay. So this is one risk factor, and the reason it is powerful is because everybody has such high LDL that they need that, and triglycerides, obviously, they cause inflammation, they cause heart disease as well. So you're combining the risk of triglycerides and combining the risk of the LDL's ability to be cleared by HDL, and that's why it matters when you're eating a standard American diet to have that TG, that ratio. Otherwise, I mean,
the way
vegans have 30% lower inflammation. They have
the way you talk about LDL is like very stereotyping of LDL, because we know there are different LDLs.
Which even large fluffy increases risk. Don't tell me large fluffy is this magic fluffy pillow that's good in your arteries.
We're concerned about VLDL And the best proxy number for that is triglycerides because they are exactly related. No one actually even measures your VLDL. They just take your triglycerides and divide by a certain number. I think it's 7, maybe it's 18. I'm misremembering. So, but we can easily look that up. So triglycerides and VLDL are exactly in a linear relationship, period. So the higher your triglycerides are, and yours are high, they're not out of range because the range is skewed. And the range really should be, is your HDL over 60? Good, thumbs up. Are your triglycerides below 60? Good, thumbs up. And everyone that is not doing that has a ratio greater than 1 for their TG-HDL, should immediately take lifestyle modifications that bring that number under 1.
So me being almost half of the high level of triglycerides, not good enough. Not good enough still.
No, not nearly good enough.
Not I'm definitely you know all those people that have reverse heart disease.
But it's more about the ratio, isn't it?
Totally bogus. It's just I just don't buy it, man.
Do you want better health? You originally went vegan for health. Do you want better health? Your health will be better with lower triglycerides. Do you agree?
I actually don't. I think that there's a limit. I mean, where you get down to a level of triglycerides where they're probably not causing inflammation. When you're down below 100, okay, 150 is your normal cutoff. You're down below 100.
Oh. And Mike, just to the point here is you guys have this fantasy about LDL. No one has LDL that low because it's unnatural for humans. I actually have another chart we could send you where Vegan Gains loves cherry picking this Cordain paper, and we can.
So why did Cordain say that then? Why did Cordain say that ideal LDL is 50 to 70 when he started the paleo diet when nobody on the paleo diet is ever going to get there?
I'm not a mind reader for Cordain, but here this is what I can extrapolate is if the conventional wisdom is that we want low LDL and you're trying to promote the paleo diet and you say look at these different groups with low LDL and they seem to be healthy in nature and they've got no atherosclerosis, then great. But all of these groups, you can easily explain why they might have low LDL. And the answer is, just like Esselstyn, they're all starving, Mike. It's like the pygmies with no sunlight.
Yeah, like 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day with my LDL being 40. Yeah, I have to starve to get low LDL. That's definitely.
What's that?
That's a fact. It's a fact of life that I have to be starving right now.
Mike, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the hunter-gatherers in Cordain's paper that you asked about.
LDL 40 when I 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day.
Mike, beautiful person. You asked about Cordain's paper. In Cordain's paper.
I have that up if you need me to show it.
Hold up the real one. Hold on. Where's Cordain? Okay. So here's the deal, guys. If anyone can find the Cordain paper, that's great. But Cordain had, I believe, 4 groups of hunter-gatherers. And he cherry-picked the lowest LDL. So we could say, oh, the paleo diet's healthy. It lowers your LDL. 20 years later, we're like, well, we don't give a fuck about LDL because it's barely related to heart disease.
None of us could get it down, and we still wanted to sell our diet, and people still had higher mortality.
Yeah, exactly. So, Cordain wanted to sell some books. Absolutely. But then if we go back and we look in the literature and we find other hunter-gatherer groups that are also healthy, Australian Aborigines, what's their total cholesterol? 213. Nomadic Hadza people who are starving, who have very low LDL, 119. They live in a place where there's basically nothing to eat. Greenland Eskimos, 233, American adults, 208. So we're already in, if you look at
150.
Other hunter-gatherer groups, we're already in that range. And actually, Mike, just to put this in perspective, is my most recent LDL, I believe was like, I don't want to get it wrong, but I think it like surprised me how low it was despite my massive bulk. It was like 80 or something. I think it was between 80 and 100.
I think you're dead right now.
What's that?
I think you're dead. It's so low, dude. You're done.
No, but Mike, if you can have true health with in-range LDL, low triglycerides, and high HDL, and you're doing it for your health, then switch to my diet. If you want to have an argument about what's that?
Great. Switch to the diet with no clinical trials proving it unclogs arteries.
There is no clinical trials proving your thing, Mike. The one clinical trial that you think proves it is total nonsense because everyone that quit their stupid intervention got counted as the control group.
It doesn't even matter. Erase the control group entirely. If there was just
the people were still dying of pneumonia because they were so sick from the starvation diet that Esselstyn put them on.
These are old people die of random shit.
The only way that you can look at Esselstyn
should be dead.
Hold on, Mike. I just want to let you talk because we were both shouting there, and I apologize. And I
just wanted to talk about, because this is really important, because this is, in my opinion, one of the most groundbreaking studies in humanity, a leading cause of death in the world, and you're trying to dismiss it based off the fact that we compare the quitters to the people that stay on the diet. And because we're looking at 177 people who a lot of them should have died. These are people with advanced cardiovascular disease. The people that did go off the diet, which aren't a real control group, but the power of that data that they have, the 60% rate of heart attacks and strokes on that the off the wagon diet versus the 0.6 rate in people with advanced cardiovascular disease and 177 people, it doesn't matter. Throw away the control group. You take 177 people with advanced cardiovascular disease have had heart attacks and strokes before, a lot of them. Over 12 years, all of a sudden they have not 0.6%. That is ridiculous. If there was a pill that did that, it would be worth billions of dollars. I don't care.
Because people will maybe take the pill. They're not going to follow that diet. And
people do. I know. People come up to me.
Is he cuts out everything. You could put in a lot of good, and he sold it with the whole Nazi story. The Nazis went to Norway and they took away all the
one supporting thing that he says. Just because he has one thing supporting this, I mean,
indoctrinate you with the brainwash.
What is the Esselstyn's diet?
Enough to try it.
Indoctrinate you with the thing that is
it's the Nazis, right? The Nazis took away the beef and it cured heart disease. So no beef.
Well, then honestly, he's proving that the Nazis are horrible. They took away what you love. So she's actually making a point in your favor.
No, Mike, you're totally misinterpreting and misrepresenting.
I'm just joking, but I'm saying right now that. Okay, you can continue your point, and then I'll actually respond.
Okay. Esselstyn's diet could be totally switched. Well, first, like I said, the indoctrination, the vegan indoctrination. The Nazis take away the beef, and then there's no heart disease. You know what? It's wartime. They took away the grains, the sugar, but guess what the Norwegians still did? You know what? I'm Norwegian. We went fishing. And we ate a bunch of fatty fish, and we had no heart disease. Wonderful. Isn't that awesome? And we know, like, oh, people that eat more fish have less heart disease. Wow. So they stopped eating grains and sugar during wartime, and coincidentally beef, because the Nazis took the cows, and they ate a lot more fish with the DHA and the EPA, and they got lower heart disease.
Yeah, there's no real case for that they ate more fish. I mean, send me, and the idea is the heart disease wasn't even
historical account of Norwegians going fishing.
I'm saying we don't know. We don't have an account for what they actually. You're saying that anecdote, and I'm saying that is one supporting point of it. And he shows
every possible thing. You have to throw up these little roadblocks because we can't.
Because you're using anecdotes. Science. Every claim I make has the science.
Please admit that the vegan diet is not the healthiest diet for every individual human on Earth. Is a well-planned, well-thought-out vegan diet the definitively healthiest diet for every human being on the planet? Yes or no?
Oh, you're asking me a question. Oh, I thought you were still going. I would say if you were to flip a switch and change the entire planet from what they eat now to a vegan diet.
For each individual human being, for me, would I look as good, feel as good, have the performance, have the longevity, have the blood work, the abundant health that I have if I switched to a well-planned by Mike the vegan diet? Would my health be better? Would it be more optimal? Better.
I would. Okay, I don't make claims based off not having studies, but based off what what we see in populations, I would say the chances of you dying.
Each individual on the planet, Mike, for each individual on the planet. So all the ex-vegans out there that tried veganism
100%.
7 different ways to Sunday, for Drew Morgan, who's on the call right here, is there a vegan diet that Drew should be doing right now that will give him better health than he has right now? Drew, can I ask you, is there a vegan diet that is possible that would be better for your health?
For me personally, no, there's no form of the diet because I tried every single one.
So Mike, in that case, you can tell all of your vegan followers to fuck off because each individual on this planet should be able to pursue the diet that is the best for the way they want to look and feel and perform.
I'm not trying to take, but I'm not a mind reader. If I put Drew on the vegan diet that I think would work for him, I mean, I've probably eaten
that.
Probably did. What?
By the way, my blood tests were great at 2 years. I was a high carb, low fat vegan, roughly 80-10-10, did raw till 4 essentially. I had great blood work, but I couldn't build muscle mass. I ate that same diet essentially for the next 2 years. Libido lost, definite teeth decay.
I don't even promote a high carb vegan diet. I promote.
I'm just saying that my blood tests were good at that time. I had low cholesterol. I had high testosterone. I was like top 70-80 percentile on testosterone, even though I couldn't build muscle really. So Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
you're eating enough calories. I mean, here's the thing.
Oh, hell yeah, I was eating a ton of calories.
I believe that if you just up your protein and fat by a little bit, that you wouldn't have been able to put on muscle. I mean, I thought I was an
Drew, didn't you try that before you quit veganism? Didn't you try that?
I did start eating protein powders even because on a truly whole food plant-based diet, I could not gain muscle mass. I don't care what you say, that is bullshit. Anybody who's saying that they're eating a truly whole food plant-based diet, we're talking no protein powders, we're talking, dude, you're getting 60 to 80 grams a day at best on that diet.
Drew, what about unlimited beans, lentils, legumes?
I ate that.
Easily get over 100 with nuts and legumes, easily.
Okay, first of all, nuts completely destroy my digestion. There's no chance of that.
Well, then legumes and there's you can probably.
I used to eat a cup of lentils for dinner very easily, which is 50 or 45 grams of protein on itself. And I guarantee you, these other people who are claiming that they're doing that are not actually doing that. That's a lot of lentils, bro. It fills a bowl that's like, it's like over 2 pounds of liquid and beans. Like I used to eat that all the time, probably twice a week.
I would just be amazed between a variety of plant-based proteins. Sit down with somebody like Andy Sadeghi, gastroenterologist. Look at some. Maybe you're probably going to have some response to soy, but between edamame, lentils, whatever nuts you can. Maybe you need to soak the nuts. Maybe you're having some reaction. Maybe there's something there. Just do the math. There's so many ways to get there. How did I gain? I mean, obviously I have a different digestive system.
You love anecdotes when they're in your favor.
I'm not. We're talking about
the vegans always do. The vegans project so hard. You guys project everything that you like. Oh man, look at this beta cuck male. You know who says that? A beta cuck male at their keyboard.
I've
never said that.
Like,
Mike has never said that.
My penis works so good on a vegan diet. Dude, I'm banging so many girls on my vegan. Like, such bullshit. I'm gaining so much muscle mass.
Okay. I believe that Mike. Listen, I believe that Mike gained 15 pounds when he went vegan from his omnivore diet. Okay, great. But you're not. Okay, and by your own accord, you're not some muscle bound monster right now. So it's like, okay, so now you're in a healthy weight range for your body type, not not even at the top of that weight range. You're at the middle to the lower end of that weight range. So really, you were underweight, and
I'm not below the middle. I said I'm at the middle.
Or yes, I would say you're at the middle or potentially below.
170, 100, 170, 6'1", whatever that is.
Right.
How tall are you, Mike?
Yeah.
6'1".
Yeah.
How tall are you?
6'3" and 5'8".
Oh, there you go. Yeah. See, if you would have gone vegan, you would have shrunk to 6'1".
Oh, I can see that happening, actually. Definitely. No calcium, right?
No calcium at all.
Like, here's the thing. Vegan
all
diet.
The calcium goes to your dick. That's why they're always so hard.
Health conscious vegan diet, so much better than the standard American diet in the short term, because a lot of the benefits you're getting are the benefits that I talk about with fasting. Basically, you're getting incomplete protein all the time. You probably didn't need it. You're cranking down IGF-1 for an extended period of time. You're taking in fewer calories if you're trying to do whole foods plant-based. You're losing weight. Your blood pressure goes down. All these good things. The 5 things that make up metabolic syndrome. So your blood pressure is better. Maybe if you start working out because you're on a health kick, you're starting veganism, your HDL maybe goes up a little bit. Your triglycerides probably drop compared to the shit diet you're on. Your blood pressure is better, and you probably have better glycemic control. You know what? Dr. Dashti did a study on the ketogenic diet, a 24-week intervention, 6 months, and he got all those results except for blood pressure. But we know that the ketogenic diet lowers blood pressure.
Okay, then let's talk about.
If you look at those 83 obese subjects, and they improve all 5 of those markers, guess what they did? They reversed their risk for cardiovascular disease on a ketogenic diet.
Yeah, you can go.
All I want you to admit, Mike,
probably going to die of heart disease is still probably going to die of heart disease slightly less. My question is, are you on a low carb diet? Do you eat a low carb diet?
No, I eat a balanced diet.
Well, what percent of macros do you get from that?
Well, Mike, for the last 2.5 days, I was on a vegan diet. I was just fasting, bro.
Dinner.
Put up 225 times 7 on the bench on a 2-day
I just really want to know how many macros. Do you eat a low carb diet on paper?
On paper, no.
You don't eat low carb.
Here's the thing, and we were talking about this before you got on the phone, Mike, is I'm keto adjacent, right? I'm carnivore adjacent.
Which would be low carb still.
No, hold on, Mike. Hold on. Calm yourself. Because it's all about proper nutrition, is you getting what you need to do what you want to do. So yes, people can absolutely succeed with carnivore. They can succeed with keto. Sometimes people get stuck on keto and they need to change things up. Maybe increasing their carbs and lowering the fat is better for them. Right now, Mike, my macros yesterday, 225 grams of protein, some of it from plants, 335 carbohydrates and 19 grams of fat.
Good luck with your IGF-1 on that. Sorry, 19 grams of fat. So you ate a high
I ate a high carb,
high protein diet.
Focused day with low fat. And all I'm doing is making gains and getting shredded, baby, with great TG HDL moving forward. Because Mike, hold on. I don't need to be dogmatic about my diet because it's not my identity. I could have gone down that rabbit hole when I was, I did carnivore for a while, but I never made it my identity. I was going to be like, I'm taking over the internet and being the carnivore god. I said, yeah, carnivore works. I'd rather eat sweet potatoes. I'd rather load my muscles up with glycogen and go to the gym and crush it. Mm-hmm. Okay?
You like sweet potatoes. Interesting.
I love, Mike, baby, you know what made us human? That throwing shoulder, running, dissipating the heat, and fire. Being able to cook meat and cook sweet potatoes. I don't want to take anything away from plants. Like, plants can be tremendously nourishing. But there are a lot of plants that, by the time you weigh the amount of nourishment you get from them with the amount of anti-nourishment you get from them, it's a wash. Like, don't kill yourself, Mike.
But
Mike, I got a question for you.
I don't want to get in the whole conversation now because it's a super long one and I don't have that much more time. But if you want my response to that, you can just watch my video and my time Meat Made Us Human video.
Mike, from now on, I want your entire YouTube existence to just be debating me video for video. Because you know what? You're a cool, funny, smart guy. You're not like that silly Richard. You are an awesome dude. And
don't forget beautiful.
What I want, Mike, is to have you as a close friend, and then eventually we'll sit down for steaks and a hug. That's what I want for you, baby.
Not going to happen there.
Mike, already on this call, you're ready to abandon the ideology. I agree.
I've seen a huge shift.
Hold on, rewind just a second. I just want to finish this point. I think you were able to admit, that a vegan diet is not the best diet for everyone. It's certainly not the best diet.
I don't think so. I think, when you take people of all ethnic backgrounds and you put them on that diet, they reverse their heart disease, their leading killer, they reverse these things, they reverse their diabetes.
You put them on Dr. Dashti's ketogenic diet. You put them on Dr. Dashti's ketogenic diet, they do the same thing. The key is eating.
Mike, you're not going to reverse, you're not going to unclog arteries on that, you're not going to prevent somebody.
Yes, you are. As soon as you improve Mike,
and they're going to bounce up.
As soon as you improve the TG HDL ratio, you are reversing heart disease.
That is not absolutely.
That is absolutely the case. It is the number one risk factor for heart disease if we actually look at the data.
Between changing a risk factor and unclogging arteries, which we have shown.
Mike, look at Dr. Esselstyn's diet. It only has the benefits of fasting. You starve people for 6 years, you might see them cannibalize some of their plaques. That's what they're doing.
Let's maybe move on from the LDL.
But I do really want to say, for definitely some words that have been put in my mouth. Those things you're saying just not true. Okay, I can move on.
Okay, well that's we're seeing the change. Our work here is done, Chris. I understand. Mike, thank you for being here.
Mike, you're a beautiful human being. I respect and admire you.
Mike, I do want to point out some things.
The civil conversation. I hope that people don't take what
I have one last question, and maybe.
And say that that's something I believe, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're not done with you yet. You can go in a few minutes though. But do you think that cats and dogs can be vegan?
I believe that dogs have a way better. If you do it right, dogs have a way better chance of doing it well. Cats, there was a study which I need to find where it was in like Europe. They put cats on Amy cat. They put them on another conventional meat-based cat food and raw. And based off the health outcomes, the vegan cat food did the same as the standard cat food. The raw meat did better. And yeah, we can find that. And I still don't tell people. I tell people don't get cats. But that's from an ethical standpoint, you can't, from that study at least, and I have to find it. I haven't found it in a while. I haven't looked at it in a while. But it's as unethical to be feeding your cat a standard.
Because you're torturing the animal, just like vegans torture themselves until they finally quit veganism.
I do not believe that. I think vegans should get rabbits. I don't think that they should get, because if it's just not. I mean, they're obligate carnivores, and you have like veterinarians or several veterinarians on record saying it's not that cats need meat; it's that they need everything in meat. I believe they'll be healthier with meat, and that's why.
So
I think
like humans, then. Like you say, we don't know what the nutrient is, but we need meat too. You know what I mean? Like we don't need to know what the nutrient is, because science is only going to reflect on what we might be able to hypothesize. Like it only reflects what's already existed in nature for millions of years potentially, right? Like we don't need to prove that it works. we can see that it works. It's always worked. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here in the first place.
No, if you're a vegan,
Yeah,
you need an
raping
epidemiological study.
always worked as passing on your genes. That doesn't mean we should keep doing it. For the most extreme example.
Okay, well, the reason I bring that stupid question up is because the British Dietetics Association, which is the association that backs up the ADA with all that crap about how the vegan diet is suitable for all stages of life, which the vegans love.
Yes.
Correct. And all those organizations are all parroting each other, by the way. They don't even actually show the data on their websites of why they actually support the vegan diet, because the British Dietetics Association, they get their guidelines from the Vegan Society, which is a British vegan organization that they work together, and they give the British Dietetics Association that information. They say, hey, we have this information. This is how it works. It's good and healthy for humans. And then the BDA says, okay, cool. And by the way, the Vegan Society, that British organization I talked about, tells you on their website, can my cat and dog go vegan? Generally speaking, most dogs and cats can follow a vegan diet. They say that right on their website in their FAQs, if you're curious about that. That's how retarded, shitty that vegan organization is. And they're the ones giving the BDA the guidelines to say that vegan diet is good for all stages of human life.
I mean, these people made these decisions. You can claim they were just parroting, or they actually looked at the data. Maybe they looked at the 75 studies that were linked to them.
Neither site shows any reason. If you go to the BDA and you go to the Vegan Society website, there's zero help. There's literally one paragraph on the. If you go to Vegan Society, there's a question. It says why go vegan. I can actually pull it up right here. It says why go vegan, and the only thing that they show is one paragraph on. They say it's healthy for you, and they don't even say anything. They link to the BDA, which is the BDA's website. If you go there, all they do is talk about their relationship with the Vegan Society. I'm going to pull it up.
I mean, that's an ethical organization. I don't really see how that's relevant to you.
Correct. That's what I'm.
Authority fallacy.
That's my point, baby. That's my point, baby. They're an ethical.
So appeal to a smaller authority with who is citing studies saying that actually, yeah, it is suitable for pregnancy, and just coming to the opposite conclusion. It's okay. No, I mean, I don't understand. Just because it's an appeal to authority, it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. But the information's there.
That's the paragraph.
Explain away the 4 times higher level of folic acid deficiency in omnivores in that study. Explain that away.
Acid
the main
deficiency.
Cause of neural tube defects, and that is one of the main leading causes of defects in the world. Vegans don't, with all intents and purposes, for all intents and purposes, they don't get folic acid deficiencies.
Well, here's why. What if the vegans are all taking folate because they're like, oh, I got to be health conscious and extra careful because I'm vegan and I'm nutrient deficient.
Talking about you'll slam your RDA.
But if I'm a poor omnivore and I don't have adequate health care, maybe I'm not thinking about my folate levels.
If you're the average person pushing toward eating meat and eating that diet, and you're not getting beats of the gimps.
I mean, do we need to talk
such
B12?
Abundant health and not eating your diet? How my health could be possibly get any better by switching to your diet?
You're right. One anecdote.
I don't know, Mike. You are the king of anecdotes. You're like Mike. You're like, dude.
All your
these vegans, they only become ex-vegans when they start hanging out with jerks like Drew, who are omnivores.
All right.
Like it's all anecdotes with you, and then it's a little bit of bro science. So you guys always accusing everyone else of bro science, and then you throw in like
very good point,
the worst study. Well, Mike, I have a question for you. Just bringing it back to logic. So you don't want to have cats because cats are going to be out there killing like birds and rodents, right? Like they're like death machines, right? They're apex predators. Well, not apex. I mean, someone can eat a cat, but they're definitely predators. So cats are death machines. So you want to hold your cat inside and just feed it, I don't know, marshmallows or whatever is vegan. No, they're not because marshmallows have gelatin. But if we don't have cats and we all switch to rabbits, then guess what? There aren't any cats out there killing rats. And then the rats bring the plague to your house.
I feel like the stray cat population is going to be doing okay, and we have this just like keeping a house that's clean and stuff like that. You can get away with that.
No matter what, there are rats coming to your house to eat your food. Every 5-star Michelin vegan restaurant is killing rats all day long so they can keep their health license. Like
there's gonna I talk about this in my other video. There's gonna be a death toll in every life. It's about minimizing it, not purposefully going and paying people to kill highly sentient animals.
So minimizing it would be you committing to a grass-fed beef carnivore diet. Boom. Live to 100 years old. Only kill 200 cows. The smallest amount.
200 of like one of the most beautiful, intelligent animals we have on the planet.
Here, Mike, I told this story before you got on the call because I think that you're a emotional, compassionate person that respects life. And before you got here, I told the story of this family. They have 3 beautiful kids: oldest daughter, middle daughter, Megan, and then the youngest boy. And the last time I saw Megan, she was like a middle schooler. Last time I hung out with this family. Got an email from my high school that says, hey, Megan has been killed in a rock climbing accident. She was out at the national park. Rock fell down, struck her on the head. She died instantly. No pain, but just awful traumatic thing. Like, I was sitting in this very room, shook me up. Like, I was just fucked up, like just hearing this news for a week or two. And at that moment, there is no number of cows, pigs, chickens, dogs, horses, or anything that I would not sacrifice to bring that girl back to her family.
Yeah, but
The fact is, Mike, that these animals are not worth your life and your health. We have to kill rats because otherwise they're going to come eat your ass. We have to kill cows to nourish our bodies. It's always with the vegans, always, you're needlessly killing animals. No, I'm needfully killing animals so that I can enjoy my abundant health, which should be my choice. And if you didn't want to eat meat because you have some predilection or something going on with you, you know, your stepfather molested you and he always ate meat, so you never wanted to eat meat again. I told this story earlier too. So that's a fine reason. You don't have to eat meat.
I really like to respond to what you said earlier when you're done.
What's that?
I really want to respond to what you said earlier about the girl. First of all, she dies. That's horrible. But in principle, you actually just made a case for why humane slaughter is absolutely unacceptable. A living being being killed instantly and painlessly, free range, humane life, totally dead. That is wrong.
No, it's not, Mike. It's absolutely not. And that's where you go off the rails. Mike, that's where you go off the rails. Is no human family mourning the death of any number of cows. And that cow is not being killed needlessly. Hold on, the cow is not being killed needlessly in a rock climbing accident. It is being killed to nourish Drew and myself and our families. That's why the cow is being killed.
Like, it's being killed so that you can.
Mike, the only way you can stay in this conversation is to radically uphold the 3 big lies of veganism. That's the only way you can stay in the conversation. As soon as you let slip, and you said yourself, well, geez, you know, the cow is such a beautiful, pristine animal. I'd rather kill field mice with my harvesting equipment. You said that in your last video.
So we have a hierarchy. I'd rather not let a human girl die, but then I'd rather not let a cow die than a mouse. Like,
you would allow countless millions of human beings to have their health suffer on a daily basis and die sooner to avoid killing animals. In India, Mike, where they eat the least amount of meat. Mike, in India, where they eat the least amount of meat, it's the most veg country on earth. They actually build temples to rats and worship them. These rats that spread disease everywhere. They have the least meat and they have the most friendly conditions for rats because they're as veg as possible. More, you know, as veg as you, Mike. And what do they have? A life expectancy of 68. That's a country without war and genocide. Animals is a public health crisis, and not eating meat is a public health crisis. Don't make my health suffer so you can spread your toxic beliefs.
That India analogy, or that India
is perfect. Thank you. You're welcome.
Completely wrong. You're looking at poverty. The richest versus poorest people in India, within India, have a 3-fold difference in mortality. It is because they are poor. There are so many ways that people die.
Public health, because they won't kill the rats.
Guys,
infections are from animal product infections. Salmonella. We're talking about millions of cases a year. We're talking about deaths.
Yes, you can't stop the spread of salmonella unless you kill thousands upon thousands of rats. Innocent living beings just trying to do their thing.
From meat.
Okay, can we move on to this million calorie per deaths situation, and then maybe we can wrap it up if you guys don't mind.
I was gonna go at 3:15 my time. I gotta go, so I'll give you 7 minutes to do this. All right, let's do it.
Okay, I just want to talk about the deaths per million calories, because that's something that vegans have dreamed up this past couple months or last month or so, where they're talking about how there are less animals killed per million calories harvested compared to animal harvesting. So what I wanted to say to you, Mike, is I actually dug up that study, or not, it's not a study, but it's basically an article about the the guy who debunked that million calorie thing, basically what they're saying is that the reason for that being debunked is because the guy who initially said that. Okay, let me back up here. Guy named Stephen Davis. He made an argument saying that fewer animals are killed in the production of cattle versus crop harvesting. And people are saying that this is incorrect. And the reason for that being incorrect is because they corrected his calculation. They said that basically he did not include human potential deaths in the toll of the calories being harvested. So you have to include humans in the total amount of animal deaths when you're doing this equation. But the problem with that, because he did include that in the toll for crop harvesting, but not for animal harvesting. So they're saying that the data is invalid because he did not compare apples to apples there and use human deaths in the animal harvesting data. So on the surface, that appears that it's completely valid. It backs that up. So I went ahead and I looked up in all the CDC information and everything like that, how many people are actually killed in crop production versus animal production, in cattle production. For cattle production, 5% of total farming deaths equate for that. Whereas in terms of the agriculture farming, that equates for the rest of the 90 to 95% of deaths. And most of those deaths are tractors overturning while they're harvesting the lands in the first place.
Which, keep in mind, is for animal feed too, so you can't depend that on vegans. So you can't say that's
well.
And first of all, I mean, whatever argument this guy's talking about, I don't even think you need to employ that argument to get the human death in there at all, because when you're
there's
actually
not very many. That's why it's not worth
zooming out what everybody is freaking eating, 99% of what people are eating versus what any vegan is eating, the death toll is orders of magnitude higher in the average person. Even somebody that's eating like what you're eating the sweet potatoes and the dead animals and so forth. And so you add all those things together. And I just, my position is that the deaths from the plant farming is exaggerated, and it's sort of appealing to the perfect situation, which is unreal, only eating this grass-fed beef.
I know that you cannot. I know that you don't have time. Yeah. I know that we don't have time to watch this video, but you need, please go watch the video from Bobby's perspective. He released it yesterday. It's from that farmer, Australian farmer, who actually is a real farmer, who has sheep on his land, and he grows alfalfa himself. And he talks about the crop production deaths versus the animal production deaths. This guy he raises both types of crop. He has no horse in the race other than basically just sharing the truth about it.
Other than that, he literally kills animals for a living. Cool.
That's fine. He's a mass murder animal killer, but his information, I don't see how that can be disputed. I mean, he literally shows you what he's doing.
I haven't heard any of it. New case, so I'm a blank slate here in terms of
it's very good. It's very good.
Seen it because I haven't seen it, but I'll check it out. And I would venture to say that he's completely ignoring, like killing wildlife. He's also probably, just the various things I said in that video, ignoring these different levels of, the idea is if he was feeding his animals the way everyone is, we'd have to, we're already using 50 from, 2007 land use USDA study. We're using half of our land in the US for growing animals. That's insane. And you want to up it to grass-fed, which takes 150 to 200% of the time to get to slaughter weight.
I think those numbers are incorrect, by the way. Like, people have looked into
that cattle, whatever Crow Ranch, was just completely wrong when they said that. Why do you think we send our animals to feedlots?
There's also the case that a lot of land is not suitable for growing any crops, but you can grow animals on it. Forage land that you just cannot grow crops on.
We can green the desert. China green the desert, cross-hatching and various things of that prevents the erosion. We can literally green sand and grow crops.
Well, you know what happens when you actually do that, and you can green the desert, great, but you take fertile land and you grow crops on it, and you end up with the Fertile Crescent, which was once this abundantly fertile area, and now all the topsoil has been washed away because you were trying to grow plants without the animals there to poop on the land and replenish that topsoil.
Crop mismanagement, you can build soil, you can do, proper crop rotation, things. Everyone can farm wrong. I mean, we train the aerial sea drive, right? By using cotton farming, you can mismanage resources. It's not because there's no animal inputs. That's a completely mutually exclusive thing.
I mean, Mike, isn't the most beautiful cycle, and this is one thing that we haven't talked about because we're talking about per million calories. It's not per million calories. A million calories just makes you obese. What will make you fit and healthy and strong is grams of complete protein. And what type of farming gives you grams of complete protein? It is farming animals.
Clearly black
Legumes
beans.
that have very poor absorption, that give you all sorts of gas, that make you feel bloated, that is not optimal for every person. Mike, all I want you to do is admit what's so obvious.
And number one dietary predictor of elderly survival across the board, across cultures.
That's a great study, and it's not going to help optimize my health or help me live the longest.
Sure.
It's
all
not
right,
going
let's
to
wrap it.
create the
Mike's
best
got to go.
PDH-HDL ratio.
All right, I'm going to go if there's any closing things you want to say. I will say, once again, thanks for having a civil conversation. I'll check out that video you sent. Again, I do not subscribe to the things that I haven't said some of the things that you said I said in terms of what you interpret as me saying or endorsing views as like flaws in veganism.
How do you, do you like my experiment, by the way, my 30-day experiment? Are you following along?
Your 30-day
vegan to carnivore experiment.
I don't.
Really? You don't know that I have a vegan and carnivore who have swapped diets for 30 days and are taking blood tests before and after? Yeah, I mean, well, we're doing a lot of science here, Mike. We're doing our own science, real science. Just want you to follow along. We're going to have them back on the show with Dave Feldman, blood panel expert, in 2 weeks. They're going to share their 30 days. They've been sharing along this whole time. Yeah, I know. It's quite amazing. Chris, do you have anything?
I just want to say Mike is a great dude, and I really respect him. He makes great content. It's the vegan content that I enjoy consuming the most. And Mike, you're awesome.
Thank
I agree,
you.
Mike. I love you too.
Why do you watch my videos if you think everything I'm saying is a lie?
Mike, I just think you're a great entertainer. I think it's fascinating, and I like the little puzzle of debunking the stuff you say.
Okay.
Mike, by the way, you were wrong about the Elise carnivore thing. We didn't date before she started eating meat.
So she didn't. Okay.
But it was an anecdote that you tried to use.
Right. You were 1 for 2. Ravana, you got that right.
2 for 3.
Mike the vegan claims
2 for 3.
Okay, so she wasn't. So let's backtrack where this rumor got, and then I got it wrong. So she was your friend.
Correct. We knew each other in Hawaii. We worked together, and we knew each other.
Were there any romantic tensions?
At that time, yes, but very, very, very slight.
Okay. So that's where the rumor.
Is that the open and shut case?
Here's what happens. Vegans in failing health start hanging out with non-vegans in abundant health, and they say, "Ooh, I want some of that. Talk some sense into me. Oh, wow, maybe I should not be vegan." That's what happens. You said it in your last video, like you gave 3 or 4 examples, including Elise. Hey, this girl started dating a non-vegan. Yes, she went outside of her echo chamber, started listening to.
You think I existed, dude? 95% of my friends are not vegan.
Mike, your echo chamber and your ideology prevents you from just admitting that a vegan diet is not ideal for every single individual human being's health.
And give us a percentage on that, Mike. Give us a percentage.
Simply admit that. You think every individual human being on this planet
ethically justify their diet?
Mike, give us a percentage on that. At least 5%.
It was good to cross different viewpoints. I appreciate it a lot. I'm going to go work in the tiny house. Peace out. And
thank you for joining us, Mike.
Bye, Mike. He's a cool dude.
Right. He's a cool dude. He's definitely going to be on the stakes within another year or 2. We're in agreement there.
He is ideologically obsessed. And like anyone in the audience out there, especially the vegans out there, can you say that there is some vegan diet, like for you, Drew, is there some vegan diet that could give you optimal health? Is there any diet that I could switch to that would improve my health to a level that I'm not already at?
I would say no. I would say there's no, because I've tested it. It doesn't exist. Doesn't exist.
Before you can even have a conversation about ethics, you need to get rid of the first lie. You need to say, look, guys, and really it makes vegans more noble. If you say, look, I care about animals so much that I am willing to sacrifice my health to avoid doing harm to animals, then you're noble. Then you're a hero. But if you're saying that, no, your health will be improved, you'll save the animals and you'll save the earth, and they're all false, well, we can't even talk about 2 and 3 if you won't admit that number 1 is the truth. Your health will suffer on a long-term vegan diet, period. But you will be doing your part to save up to 2 cattle per year.
Mm-hmm. True.
So, hey, and you know what? A lot of people go great for the first, let's be honest. Most vegans drop out in the first 3 months.
Yeah, you don't even hear about them.
No. Well, I forget which vegan site I used to cite for this.
Humane Research Council.
But they did all these surveys to figure out how to get people to be better vegans and convince more people to be vegan.
Yeah, so it's the Humane Research Council.
Pardon me, what's it?
It's the Humane Research Council. They said that 84% of vegans and vegetarians eventually drop out of the diet.
Yeah. So I've seen that. I think I saw it on another website, but 53% drop out, I think, within the first 3 months. I think it's 84% within the first 5 years. And then, the 16% that are willing to get really loony and sacrifice their health.
Yeah.
So what is happening there? And the vegans love to come back with, oh, you know what? It's just social pressure. Baloney. If you have a diet that makes you feel so freaking good, you're going to spread that around the world. And you see this all the time. Vegans, they spread it out, and then they themselves have to leave the diet because it's killing them. And then they're exiled. You got no friends left because now you're a heretic. You've gone against the beliefs that we've all bought into. And then it's just like they just get picked off one at a time. And of course, you can't have any serious talk about vegan health or vegan life expectancy because vegans don't last. No one is going to their grave for veganism.
No,
at some point, these very noble people that are sacrificing their health for the animals eventually say, "Fuck it, give me some animals."
Yep.
And that's
I know 3 10+ year vegans.
What's that?
I know 3 10+ year vegans in the last year that have left the diet. So people think they're like, I'm going the distance. I'm 10 years. It's like, nope, because you're 12, you might say, I'm done. And I know 3 people personally that have done that.
Yeah, well, you're
actually 4.
4.
Yeah, 4 10+ year vegans who've given it up after 10 years. And by the way, I wanted to say the thing about the social pressure because I lived in Hawaii for 2 years around all vegans, about 25 plus vegans. I mean, we had a whole vegan community, literally all of us. And there's no social pressure to not be vegan there. The pressure was to stay vegan, if anything. I cooked steak in my vegan house for the first time on a skillet, and I had 2 roommates that moved out of the house because of it. That's the opposite of social pressure.
Yeah.
Again, this is just another thing picking apart their shitty argument, but go ahead.
I don't know, dude.
We're going on a long time now. We're going on about 2.5 hours with you here. We covered a lot today, and I feel like we could keep going, but
as long as we just keep throwing out topics, there's no doubt.
Exactly. I love today.
Mike, this is what I want to say is, as soon as you admit to speciesism, then the whole thing falls apart. That's the house of cards it's all built on, is that every single animal life is equally important.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I tell the story about the girl Megan that died. Because that human life is infinitely more important than any number of
They
cows.
would say you're wrong for that, by the way. They would say one cow is not, like, if you could sacrifice one cow to save her, they would say that's not reasonable.
Well, that's pure idiocy. And to me, that says you've never had a loving human relationship. You don't have a child. You don't know shit about life.
Yep.
Like, to think that a cow life is worth a human life, you just don't know shit about life if that's what you think. You're a fucking idiot. And you're so brainwashed that you don't know how to think. And that's the whole point of veganism, is that you don't have to. You just zealously believe. Don't think, just believe. But then Mike contradicts himself and he says, you know what? I think a cow is a beautiful, pristine creature. So I would much rather my harvester ran over a field mouse instead of killing a cow. As soon as you admit that there is any hierarchy to life, then can we come back to being honest that the vegan diet is not optimal for everyone's health? And now it becomes an individual choice. The thing is, now vegans so zealously believe what they believe is they have to push it on you because they believe the 3 big lies, and everyone that doesn't believe is a fucking asshole. So, but as soon as you admit to speciesism yourself, oh, that mosquito is going to sting me. Oh, I hear there's Zika virus in Southern California. I might want to swat that. Well, I mean, it's like you just killed someone's baby. You're like, you do not understand the value of human life, and every species is speciesist. Every species exists to proliferate that species. The wolf is going to eat your ass. The rats are going to come to your house, eat your food, and spread pathogens that will kill you because they're only concerned about proliferating rats. So as humans, why don't we be just as smart and say, hey, the health and happiness and proliferation of humans is the most important thing. And then it's an individual choice. Like, am I willing to make this? Am I willing to be the noble vegan that will willingly and knowingly sacrifice my health to save 1 cow per year? Because let's be honest, most people are only eating 1 cow a year. That's still a lot of meat.
Right.
And then you point to all these fallacies like, oh, you're doing less harm to animals. Well, I don't care if the tractor runs over a field mouse as long as I don't kill a cow. How's the mouse any different from the cow?
Mm-hmm.
Or the mosquito? Or the rat that's trying to come to your house? Or the rat that wants to break into your vegan restaurant and eat the carrots? Yep. The whole thing is this house of cards that just falls apart once you start being honest. And all vegans need to do is take off that, because you live in an echo chamber, but then it's like you have like Magneto's helmet on, right? Charles Xavier can't get in. He's got this impenetrable, what's the thing that Wolverine's made out of? Adamantium. He's got this adamantium helmet on, so you can't get in there. You can't fuck with me, logic. You can't fuck with me, reason.
True.
I'm just blocking it out. And then you just get in the echo chamber. So no matter what we say to Mike, all he can do is grasp and grasp and grasp. Like Drew, just as a free thinking person, how insane is it to say that there is any vegan diet, or that a vegan diet could be optimized for you that is better than any other diet for your health and well-being and performance?
It makes sense until that person tries those diets, and then you must allow logic to prevail and say, okay, you legitimately tried those diets. You did a whole foods plant-based diet for 6 months. You did this diet for 6 months, and you had these results, which were subpar. Like, all of my results were always subpar. I was always losing ground on some aspect of my health, and it didn't equalize or just become easy again until I went back to animal foods. That's just the way it is. So I know for damn sure that I tried everything, and I have an understanding of nutrition. It's not like it was my day one thing. I turned 18 and I became a vegan. No, I turned 18 at 28. I knew what was going on already. I've already experienced 10 years in the gym. I already knew about protein and whey protein and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't completely ignorant to all this information. But by the way, I do want to say I made that point in my first video, 5-year vegan goes carnivore story video. I say that in that video, how much I say to ask any ethical vegan, how much are you willing to let your health how much health are you willing to sacrifice for the supposed well-being of the animals? So basically, if you're an ethical vegan, you have to come to terms with that fact. I'm willing to give up 10 or 20% optimality to be vegan. You have to come to terms with that. Because you're not going to be 100%. You might get 90% optimal, but you're not going to be 100%. So just if
that's
you're cool
why
with that,
every vegan is a future ex-vegan, and that 90% you might get after year 1 is then probably 90% less after year 2, but it's 90 of 90%.
Yeah.
So
right.
every year just declines and declines and declines and declines forever until your teeth are falling out of your head and your skin's falling off your face. And the thing you said there is, you said logically, but it's observationally. If you will just open your own fucking eyes and look at yourself in the mirror. I cited, who's the awful doctor in Texas? Garth Davis.
Yeah.
Just a freaking wingnut. And he has this video with fully raw Christina. And she like pans to her blood work for like a split second. And he's busy telling her like, oh, you're heart attack proof. Your LDL is so low. Your HDL is in range. Everything is great. Then you see for just a glimpse her triglycerides.
Mm-hmm.
And they are through the fucking roof. So her TG-HDL ratio is like, bitch, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And Dr. Garth Davis is just feeding her this shit. You're so perfect. You're amazing, blah, blah. And it's just because you're a true believer. And I'm just so thankful for people like yourself that can say, I've been there, I've done that. And guys, come join me. Like, step out of the echo chamber.
That's what I'm all about, man.
Yeah. My mission in life is spreading beasting, feasting, and fasting. Like my dad died of prostate cancer when I was 18 years old. So health was like always super important for me. I watched, Forks Over Knives and, I watched everything. I mean, by the time we got to What the Health, I was like, well, fuck these guys. They're full of shit. But yeah, like I want to watch it with an open mind. But the thing is, they're so sneaky that if you watch it with an open mind, they'll suck you in.
Mm-hmm.
You have to watch it with a very objective and critically thinking mind and say, wait, is that true? Will that be true for me? And then, like I said, even not even using your logic later, but just using your powers of observation to step out and say, this is not working.
It's more of a rare thing than you think. People don't have that ability. They literally, like the saying, trust your gut. People don't know how to do that.
Well, their
it's
gut
led
health
them
has been
astray.
destroyed by veganism.
True. Yes, exactly. But I did think it was interesting when I went go digging into that research about the farm deaths, is how they wanted to make a big deal about human deaths not being included in that observation. But the reality is, on a year-to-year basis, only 5% of farm deaths for humans, only 5% of the total amount of human deaths are from cattle production. Everything else is from farming, like actual crop agriculture.
Now, two things there. Number one, it's not per calorie, it's per gram of complete protein. So you immediately have to recalculate all those animal deaths, because what deaths give you complete protein? That's what we need to focus our diets on.
Well, even from that perspective, that's been debunked, by the way, by the farmers who are actually doing this.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Because there's no complete protein in all those plants you want to harvest. There's complete protein in every cow you want to harvest.
No, even from the calorie angle. Even from the calorie angle, they're wrong.
Oh, even from the calorie angle.
Yes.
Well, forget it then.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think Mike might have a valid point, is if you're farming alfalfa and that's a plant, but you're feeding the alfalfa to the cows, are some of those farm deaths misattributed? You counted it as a plant, but it ended up being eaten by an animal, and you ended up
alfalfa doesn't require any. No, see, that's the problem. The vegans, of course, there's a vegan sitting in an office desk cubicle in the city who doesn't know anything about farming. The guy talks the video that I talked to him about from Bobby's perspective. He's a real farmer. He says that alfalfa production basically is a zero death production, because when you harvest alfalfa, you're cutting it at the base. You're not actually harvesting it with the wheat threshers. So you're not destroying the life in that area. You're basically just topping the plant, and then you give that to the sheep or whatever. So like that alfalfa production, which is used for hay, which is used for cattle and sheep and all that stuff, is almost a zero death situation right there. So they're like attributing all these extra deaths that aren't even. There's all this information is public information, like the amount of mice per hectare of land. It's all available on the public websites, like Australian farming websites.
This is one of the things I referenced to Mike originally, and then he tried to come back in that response video.
I'm going to post this to the channel, by the way. But yeah, go ahead.
Cool. And then I just want to say, like, yeah, we do, like, so vegans, they say it's the best for your health. Obviously, it's not. But be a noble vegan and say, I'm going to sacrifice my health for the one cow I was going to eat this year. They say it's the best for the animals. Maybe you end up killing more animals harvesting plants, and certainly you end up killing more humans. And the humans are infinitely more valuable. Like, think about the farmer that's like, oh, he got ran over by the harvester that he fell off today, and now he's not going home to his family. Again, I'll sacrifice 1 million cows for that one farmer to go home to his family.
Yep.
Number 3, best for the environment. And this, again, the CO2 emissions, the global warming, all that stuff. If you watch Cowspiracy, you're getting taken on a crazy ride. And one of the things, like, I know the CEO of a farm-to-table organic grass-fed beef operation. And in Cowspiracy, they're saying it takes 50 to 100 acres of land to feed one cow. They were only off by a magnitude of 50. You put a cow on grass, one cow can rotate on 1 acre of grass. So what you do is you put 10,000 cows on 10,000 acres, and you move them around, and then the grass that they were on grows back, and all the soil gets, dumped on and peed on, and the nitrogen goes back, and it's a beautiful, sustainable thing. And yeah, like, honestly, there are too many people on Earth. Like, we've exploded through the industrial age, and 7 billion people is just too many. So, there are things that we should do, like, the more people are educated, the fewer children they have. We should devote more resources into each individual human life. And what we should really do is probably aim for a world population that is sustained just on ruminant farming and organic farming, conventional farming when we're, taking nitrogen out of the air using the Haber process that was invented by the same guy that invented the gas used by the Nazis. If we start organic farming, it's this beautiful, sustainable cycle, and we should aim for a human population that can be fed by that. And all focusing on plant foods does is take us further towards the edge of the cliff. You can keep dumping nitrogen, artificially created, fossil fuel created nitrogen fertilizer on the crops. You can grow more crops. You can keep feeding. Like the last thing we want to do is keep feeding a growing population. But we can grow and grow. Oh, now there's 9 billion people. Now there's 10 billion.
Well, that's not going to stop. We know that's not going to stop. I mean, realistically, we know that the population is going to go until it hits critical mass, and then basically shit's going to really hit the fan, and then things will happen. We don't know what that is. Well,
the beautiful thing is if you just if you take care of people, the more educated people have fewer children. So the key is can we educate more people and raise the quality of life for people so they don't think like, oh, I need to have 9 kids. Sean Baker actually told a story when he was in the military. He was out in Afghanistan. And there's a farmer there that has 9 kids, and he has his littlest kids walking in front of the tractor so that the landmines don't blow up the tractor, it just blows up the kid. Because the tractor's expensive and you always have another kid. Yeah. And that's what is so fucked up is there is anywhere in the world that has that perspective on the value of human life.
Life is cheap over there.
So let's have fewer children, love them more, dump more resources into them, and then let's feed the world with grass-fed beef and sustainable organic agriculture.
I'm with that.
Just a thought. But that's really what would accomplish what the vegans are about. If you did that, you get optimal human health, you would kill the fewest number of animals, and you would save the planet.
But again, the thinking comes back into that. I'm with you, and I think we should probably close on that. But dude, great live cast today.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think. Have you eaten today, or are you fasting all day so far?
No, I actually worked out, came home, had a meal. So I said earlier that feasting, and fasting. You want to get big and strong, and I relate this directly to my experience as a strength and conditioning intern at UCLA working with the college football team, right? So those kids put on, 20, 30, 40 pounds to get ready for the NFL, and they do it in 3 to 4 years. And what you really end up doing is that protocol twice a day. So you come in the morning and there's a 6 o'clock group, 7 o'clock group, 8 o'clock group. You lift heavy ass weights. So you beast, you feast, then you go out and you feast at the training table. It's provided for the scholarship athletes. Then you go out, you do your classwork, you flirt with the girls, you hang out, you're a college athlete, it's cool. You come back for practice in the afternoon, and then you go to the team dinner at night. So if I'm trying to get big and strong and look my best, feel my best, be athletic, is I just run that same sort of thing, except instead of going to a 2-hour football practice, I do 45 minutes, 30 to an hour, but mostly 45 minutes in the gym in the morning. Eat after that. That's before I came on the podcast. And then before I have dinner tonight, I'll go out in my street and do just like 10 minutes of sprints or, some, I call it super cardio, but high intensity interval training just to, again, deplete the stored energy. And then I refuel. And then you get 2 daily bumps of testosterone and growth hormone that you wouldn't have otherwise, that are in addition to your natural human rhythm.
Cool. That's actually information I didn't know before. So you actually beast and feast twice a day. Like if you're going to eat twice, you beast twice.
If you just want perfect health, then the absolute easiest thing to do is do 1 bout of exercise. And I really prefer when it's training, when we're really trying to get better at something. Whether you're trying to run faster, get stronger, improve your stamina, like instead of just doing exercise, that's monotonous. We're just doing reps and reps and reps. We're not trying to go anywhere. We're walking on the hamster wheel. Do some real training and then eat 1 meal a day. And there's no schedule that gives you more flexibility and mental clarity. If I only have to plan and eat 1 meal per day. And I actually have the fasting ability, the skill built up where I know that I could not eat for the next 3 to 4 days and I'll be fine. Like what a baseline level of resilience do you have in your life when it's like, no, I don't need your coffee. I don't need any calories. Like for the next 4 days, I'm going to be totally fine if I just breathe. And think how, people that are on the standard American diet, how fragile they are.
Mm.
Like, you don't let somebody get their Starbucks and it's noon, they're having a hissy fit.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, they haven't had their bagel yet or something, like they're breaking down. They're falling asleep at their desk at 2:30, so they need a 5-hour energy. But if you can be awake and alert and have great health for a 96-hour fast, and I never need to do that again. Like, I just did a 60, but if you know that you have that ability, then you're never tempted. Oh, I've got to pull into KFC right now.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't have to do it. Like, food is always an option, but it's never a need.
Do you have any issues with dizziness or anything like that? You know how you can get kind of dizzy. I don't know if that's a
the thing. I think that's probably
while
like
fasting.
A fasting noob thing is just throw in some salt.
Okay,
And
I have done that and it does help.
Yeah, like your electrolytes might get drained down a little bit, but like Mike says, the vegans would get B12 from just drinking untreated water. Well, you get all your minerals from just drinking water also. So not an issue. And then the other thing that people, seek to avoid is exercise. I'm not avoiding any exercise at all on a prolonged fast. I'm actually trying to dig in and be tougher. So my fast started, ate dinner, went to bed, woke up, got the wife, got my daughter, who is, I want to call her a baby, but she's like 3 now, and she's the size of almost a 6-year-old. Grass-fed butter on that diet, 100th percentile. So we go to the gym in the morning. Mommy and daddy lift for 45 minutes. We did like this intense leg day. There's something on my Instagram where I have bands around the squat bar and I'm like jumping off the box. And I go home, fast all the way through the whole day, play with my daughter, do my work, do all my stuff, make dinner for the other two, not affected at all by food. And don't get me wrong, like, I love food and I eat the best food and the food that makes me the healthiest, but not affected at all. Go to bed, wake up, do the same thing the next day, go to the gym, put 225 on the bench, do 3 sets of 7, rack it up, rest of the workout, do the whole thing, go home, whole thing again, repeats the third day. I go to the gym, come home, and that's when I broke my fast. And then I had dinner last night. So 2 meals last night. But when you have that kind of resilience, like, when are you ever going to have a health and fitness and a food and a nutrition concern? If you just
never.
make yourself that tough. And that's,
Right.
I'm like everybody out there, just be so tough that these little things in life can't hurt you. Like, you can't ask the world to be any easier. You just have to be tougher. And
Agree.
the sooner we can wrap our heads around that and say, no, it isn't getting easier. Like, we just have to get through. But if you make it where the level that you're capable of is so much greater than any challenge that you're facing, then everything is child's play. Like, fasting 14 hours, that's nothing. Absolutely. Like, that's your daily routine. That's another thing too, is we always get caught up in, the quick fix, the shortcut, whatever. As soon as you make it a lifestyle, and a lifestyle needs to be on schedule. Like, feasting, and fasting, more than anything, is a schedule. And if you just know that you do this step before this step and then this step, that's so easy to adhere, though, because now we're not talking about habits. Like, habits are unconscious. And if we lived in the wild, you could have habits. You could absolutely have habits, because the habits would be beast, feast, fast. That's the only way to live in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
But in society, the habit is, wake up to the alarm, buzz, smash that, groggily walk over. Maybe I shave and take a shower, go down, get my coffee, get in the car, drive to this, sit in the cubicle. And then, all the things I eat during the day, the coffee that I have, the breakfast that I pour, the lunch that I stop at, the drive-through after work, all that shit, those are all habits. You're doing them unconsciously. Those are the default settings.
I quit caffeine today, by the way.
What's that?
I quit caffeine today, by the way.
Today?
Yeah.
What a beast. My wife just did it, actually. And you seem great. She was in for, like, I would say 4 to 5 days of hurt. But she just decided, like, you know what? I don't want to have. There was one time we were taking my daughter to Disney on Ice. And the arena where they had it was like an hour away. And we're getting all planned and packed up to go. and she didn't have any coffee in the house, and she wanted to stop at like the one really great organic coffee spot, but it's way off the freeway and it was totally out of the way, and like she's just getting pissed. Not to throw her under the bus at all here, but it's just
I know the feeling.
Caffeine is like the most abused drug. It's the most, it's not the most serious addiction, but it is the greatest addiction out there.
That's because it's so acceptable. You can do it all the time. You can all day. It makes you more. Well, it doesn't make you more productive, but you think you're going to be more productive when you take it.
And it's cool and it tastes great and you love it and you're addicted and you don't realize how addicted you are because it's just a cup of coffee. Exactly. But all you're doing is like shorting out your adrenals. Like when you start having this addiction that's changing your hormones and not for the better, then it's just another place. It's just another thing that makes you fragile. So you go 4 or 5 days fat. And please, this is only for your audience. Everyone else, I'm like, guys, just, have your last morsel of food by 7. Don't eat anything until you get home from the gym at 9 a.m. You're fine.
Real easy fasting window.
And that's what I do if I want to have like optimal performance. Now, if I want to have optimal ease, then I do 1 meal a day. Like it's way easier to eat 1 meal a day than 2. Eating 2 meals a day is twice as hard. Scheduling 2 meals a day, taking the time for 2 meals a day, planning 2 meals a day. So, all these things, the furthest you can get from being the average American who is sedentary and eats 7 times a day, the better. Like how resilient can you make yourself? How anti-fragile can you make yourself? And, as you travel from fragile to anti-fragile, fragile to resilient, is way at the end is like, fuck it, I'm giving up coffee. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many little things, but as we beast and feast and fast, we realize we don't need it. We get better and better at this. And then you're saying like, wow, I don't want to be like a grumpy jerk with everyone if I haven't had my coffee. I don't want, like, all coffee is doing is releasing cortisol. It's your stress hormone. You're voluntarily saying, hey, body, be stressed so that I can be more alert and productive. Mm-hmm. And even amongst the carnivore community, where that's like as primal as you can get, right? Like, oh yeah, man, well, I'm fueled by coffee this morning. Oh, I love this stuff. Mm-hmm. No, that's like the one thing still making you fragile. And it's fermented bean water from Colombia.
Yep. It's also really bad on your teeth. Hang on, sorry, we're losing you. We're losing. Okay, there we go. We got you back. Perfect. We got you back.
Got me. I was loving it earlier when Mike was on here and it said Chris Kruger underneath him.
Yeah, it was good. I normally change the tag, but I was like, I didn't have enough time.
Well, we would have had to do it lightning quick because we were all bouncing around with the 3 of us.
So all right, we were going to soft end before, but let's end there. And again, I thank you for coming on the show. I'm glad that you responded this last week. That was really awesome. And the Mike the vegan thing came out of thin air, and that was awesome too. So
and
quality.
I think total respect to that guy for willingly coming on with the both of us. But at the same time, it makes me question, like, are you a little vegan delusional when you're going to come and talk to a very well thought out ex-vegan and, maybe he thought he crushed me in his response video or something?
No, you have the upper, the knowledge of all the studies and stuff like that. Honestly, that's just not where I put my focus on. And I had the experience as an ex-vegan. Like that's what I stand on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and those studies, all that is just way down deep in the back of my mind because I haven't done until I did Mike's response video. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not even until I saw Mike's response video. I haven't even thought about doing any sort of vegan content. So those studies are all things that I'm remembering from like 4, 5, 6 months ago. But the thing is, once, you know what it is, so I don't need to tell you, but once you start introducing the logic and you dig deeper, like just go to the studies and read them. Like Vegan Gains can quote all these studies, go to the studies and break them down. Like turn the chart that they have into a chart that you can actually see what's going on. And then look at the other study that they reference.
Well, you brought up relative risk, which was a very good point because like if it's 1 out of 1,000 or 1.1 out of 1,000, that's a 10% increase. But in reality, it's a meaningless increase. Sounds like a lot, but it's nothing. It's nothing in reality. So relative risk is what a lot of those studies do use. Bart Kay is a carnivore guy that points a lot of that stuff out. He's an actual scientist. And he is able to dive deep into those studies and pull them apart like piece per piece. So it's really cool. And he knows the math too, which is really helpful for him. So,
Awesome.
all right. Again, Chris, you're the man. You say you're in Southern California?
Southern California.
Oh, me too.
Oh, where are you?
I'm in Orange County.
Oh, I'm like the next county over, bro.
Oh, okay. Where are you in Inland?
Dude, let's do a collab.
Okay, we can do that. Perfect.
We'll do
All
a
right.
collab. And then if I can just shout out to your audience,
Absolutely.
if they can just all please go watch my newest video. It's just for fun. It's the one why nobody is vegan and all vegans are future ex-vegans. It's the newest video, my most recent upload. If you can link to that. And just
is that the one with the rats?
What's that?
Is that the one with the rats?
Oh, don't!
I saw that.
Spoiler alert!
Oh shit! My bad. that adds to the moment.
Yeah.
Chris is a beast, man. I honestly, okay. I'm very. I wish I had this type of athleticism. I'll tell you that much. But anyway.
Oh, that's the collab, bro. Just come to the gym.
Oh man, that'd be dope.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, it's happening.
All right, Chris. I'll talk to you later, bud.
See you later, Drew. Thank you.
See ya. Okay, Chris Kruger, everybody, and I'm posting the video right here. This is his latest video. It's a good video. I watched that. Drew for hot weather, hibiscus tea over mineral water with lemon or lime. Add a little stevia. Yes, that's a good thing to have. Lately, I'm just back on the milk and water. The reason I'm off the coffee is not because I feel like it's controlling me or gives me a bad attitude or anything like that. But I do get into moods where I'm like, I need this sweetness. It's more of like a sweetness. Although I do like black coffee. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm addicted to caffeine. I'm making excuses. Bottom line. And it destroys your teeth. Somebody said I'm getting tired. I'm not getting tired. I am getting hungry. It's almost 2 p.m. and I haven't eaten anything today. So I haven't moved out of this chair for 3.5 hours. So please, hey. But yeah, big shout out to Chris. That was dope. He's with it, man. You could tell that guy's sharp. He's all there. He's very focused. He doesn't stutter over his words. JG Lee, thank you for the $2 donation. Thanks, Drew and Chris. He says, great discussion and platform. Appreciate that, man. Doing what we can. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up quickly for myself here because I am starting to get hungry. I need to make some steak. Somebody said, hey, Drew, Crazy Vegan Lady wants to talk to Drew Morgan. Yes, Crazy Vegan Lady will come on the show next week. I was just going to get into that. Next week, I'm thinking of having Mark Tassi, Michelle Lowe, and yeah, potentially a third. We'll see if somebody slots in. We'll see what happens with that. Why is health all about diet here? When I'm stressed, I get bloated. No matter how I eat, I've tried vegan, major stress, bloated, meat plus major stress, bloated. Interesting. I do not get bloat from stress. I get bloat from carbs and fiber. And that was actually before I started on this Candida supplement, which is freaking awesome. I can eat anything now and I don't have any bloating. Daniel says, Drew, go to the gym with Chris and make a collab. Dude, I need to do that. I need to find out where he's at. Martassi will probably be Wednesday. Nothing wrong with sweetness, Drew. You crave it, you need it. Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I'm not against eating fruit. I'm down with fruit. I'm down with carbs too. Fuck it. Just not a lot of it. And I think that there is something to be said. Like I've said this a million times before. High fat and high carb at the same time is probably not good. All right. Anyways, guys, if you're a UFC fan, don't forget to watch tonight. There's some awesome fights tonight, and I will be checking that out. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. Don't forget to tune in, subscribe, like, all the stuff. I'll try and make some clips of this in case you're just tuning in. Very long stream today, but also very good. And yeah, awesome quality result for today. Again, guys, peace. Have a good day.